It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright. Set the stage, Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea. It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright. Set the stage, Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea. Mm-hmm. chill under the trees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
What's going on, Diamond Gang? What's up? Shouts out to everybody that came through the building. I took a day off yesterday. I was super exhausted. But y'all know I got the war updates for you guys. If you are new here, let me tell you guys how it works. I start from where I left off at. I always do that. Hold on, something's going on. For some reason, my background's going. Okay, but I'm going to still rock out. So I always start from, here we go. Okay, my background's up. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I always start from the day prior to. So the last time I went live, we were actually meeting with Iran, okay, to negotiate. And things didn't go too well, guys, at all. So I'm thinking this war is about to escalate and it's about to get serious. We are supposed to be, okay, good. I got one of my mods in the building. We are supposed to be blocking the straits off, okay? Even though it's shut down, we are bringing our Navy in to block the straits. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my screen and we're going to get into this. Let's go, down, gang. Y'all know what to do. I don't want to have to keep stopping and begging for likes. Listen, I take time out to put these videos together because I would like to convey a story to you guys. And it takes a lot of time. All I'm asking for is a like. I don't care about a super chat, a super sticker, or a cash app. Just a like will do. Okay? That's it. That's all. You are free to say what you want. You just can't be disrespectful in my chat. So that's it. That's all. Respect others. And you can, if you have an opinion that is, hey y'all, hi, hit the like as you come in. If you have an opinion that is opposing to mine, I'm okay with you saying what you want to say. Okay? All opinions over here will be respected. All right, Diamond Gang, let's get into this.
It's that Trump is a really bad candidate, and frankly, I think a really bad person.
There is no way we are going to allow.
Now, remember, these are the people that's standing with Trump right now. Once upon a time, they were against him. Okay? Vance, Whitcock, they were against him. Let's go.
It's that Trump is a really bad
Rubio, they were against him.
Candidate, and frankly, I think a really bad person.
There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
It's typical Trump. All bluster, very little substance.
Look at Hegseth. He was against him. Now he's standing right beside him.
He talks a tough game.
And for you to think that you can pimp out our proud servicemen and women to the Prince of Saudi Arabia is disgraceful. And it once again shows that you are unfit to serve as our commander-in-chief.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. This is our VP talking. They did not like him.
Makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
No, he's an armchair tough guy. I hate to say it, but this is a guy who said.
Listen to Hegseth. Listen to him, y'all.
Who said that John McCain is not a war hero, yet he sought his own 5 military deferments.
There's nothing in our Constitution that gives you the power to go to war without the express consent of Congress.
This is the most important government job on the planet. We're about to turn over the conservative movement to a person that has no.
Look at Rubio. Look at Rubio, y'all. We got a lot of information to go over. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
No ideas of any substance on the important issues, the nuclear codes of the United States, to an erratic individual.
There is definitely an element of Donald Trump support that has its basis in racism or xenophobia. I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. I think that I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he.
This is coming from J.D. Vance, his VP, y'all. You understand? What changed your mind?
He's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
My fellow service members and I, we are not your prostitutes. You are not our pimp.
Not qualified, they're not experienced. Their sole qualification is the fact that they are yes men and women, that they will
right there, yes men, yes women.
Stamp whatever the president says, and they're not independent thinkers. They will not warn the president. And this is very much what happens in dictatorships. I mean, this is how Russia has ended up in a war now going into the 5th year, because he is surrounded by yes men as well that have told him that, you know, everything's great, the war is going well, you're on the verge of winning. And that is just not the case. There's a reason why for 47 years, American presidents have, from both parties, have refrained from attacking Iran, whether or not it's resolved. And I'm skeptical that we're even at the beginning of the.
Guess what, Diamond Gang? We are now entering our second phase of this war. This is far from over.
Resolution, the president took us into a war of choice with Iran, basically on his own whim.
He clearly is the chaos and instability agent. He is the existential event, which everybody in the world clearly recognizes. Who he fires at this point is not a very important.
While his key players were negotiating, he went to a wrestling match. Guess what? They issued a second warrant for Bibi. Did y'all know he had warrants? Did y'all know the leader of Israel had warrants? Put a 1 in the chat if you knew that. They issued a second warrant for him for war crimes.
Story. He has so moved the attention on his own incompetence that there is one person who should be fired here, and that's him. It marginalizes everything else. I mean, he comes out of this 5-week war in which the world clearly sees him as.
Sweetie, if you don't care, go ahead and exit left. Go ahead and exit left. There's thousands of people on YouTube that's live right now. You don't have to be here. I asked everybody in the chat as adults, don't be disrespectful.
A much bigger menace to peace than Iran. Iran, which used to be chaos and instability agent, he clearly is the chaos and instability agent. He is the existential event, which everybody in the world clearly recognizes. This is the central problem in the world. It's not Vladimir Putin, it's Donald Trump.
When you put it like that, it's true.
Things is getting ready to get ugly because guess what? China's about to get into it with us. Russia, call itself blocking it so nobody can get through it all. It's going to be major problems. So get ready.
Horrifying. And I think those conversations are certainly going on in other countries around the world. How do we manage him?
He's going to understand he's in a corner here, and he's going to react. And one of the things he's going to do, because this is the Donald Trump playbook, is look at who to blame. We're going to blame NATO. We're going to blame the Democrats.
We're going to blame Spain. We're going to blame
He is right now alienating the U.S. Okay? From everybody.
Germany, we're going to blame France.
Remember previously when he said the Strait of Hormuz will just open up all on its own, magically. Here's a man who's more concerned about building a ballroom with foreign steel, planning a 250-foot victory arch, than he is in whether or how to actually achieve victory.
We're going to get into Hungary. We're going to get into that.
An ongoing war that he started. And the person he sent to negotiate, J.D. Vance, I'll remind you, his most recent foray overseas was to campaign.
Diamond Gang, if you agree with your host, hit the like, please and thank you. Hit the like.
For a pro-Putin authoritarian in Hungary who's up for election this weekend. So President Trump has dispatched 2 real estate developers with no foreign policy experience to speak of, a vice president who was briefly a senator and is spending more time on burnishing his own record in ballrooms and arches than he is in coming up with concrete and credible plans, either direct plans where he's consulting with Congress or backup plans where he's engaging our allies. This is failed leadership.
I think it's a mistake to send the vice president. I think that's too close to the president himself.
Listen, Diamond Gang, I told you guys, they do not trust Witkoff. They don't trust them guys. They did. They asked for J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance have been pretty nonverbal about this war. That's because he don't agree with it. I just showed y'all in the beginning of this live stream him talking about Trump like a dog. Said he would vote for Hillary before he would vote for Trump.
But Iran specifically asked for J.D. Vance, and that is a big problem. You don't let your adversary pick your negotiation team. He doesn't have experience in these kinds of negotiations.
That part. They asked for J.D. Vance. Iran asked for J.D. Vance. He don't have the experience, but I thought he was going to be able to put a deal through. We got a long way to go.
He's got presumably some kind of instructions from Trump, but who knows how specific they are.
If I had to guess, Trump isn't very confident in J.D. Vance either.
Look, I think the ceasefire was a mistake. I think it gives the Iranians a breathing space. I think it benefits them. Vance is going to convey the same sense of panic that Trump conveys.
If you just coming in here, I always take it from the day before and then all the way up until what's going on right now in real time.
His erratic behavior, I think that could just harden the Iranian position. So it's not clear to me there's going to be really any prospect for progress. I don't think J.D. Vance wants to come back from this meeting as the Neville Chamberlain of this conflict. He's constrained in many respects, but he also knows what Trump wants. He wants a way out, and I think Vance will try and find it.
Yep, and in finding a way out, he'll put us in a position.
Listen, Diamond Gang, Iran went. They had their plan, and Trump and them said it was doable. We could work with this. When they got there, it was their 15-point plan. So they tricked them.
Of weakness. Donald Trump somehow, after threatening to destroy an entire civilization, then backing off and giving Iran the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump somehow managed to be both Hitler and Neville Chamberlain in the same.
And not to mention, Israel never stopped bombing them. Never stopped, and said they won't stop.
Same negotiation. It's an unprecedented feat. He threatened to genocide people. Then he gave so much ground and he was so passive and he gave so much appeasement that it was for the worse. All in the same negotiation. Wow.
It's becoming increasingly clear that Donald Trump really despises J.D. Vance. Now, we already suspected a lot of this because Donald Trump is being increasingly cagey when people.
Let me tell you something. They despise each other. They despise each other.
We'll ask him about 2028, even though J.D. Vance for a while was kind of the heir apparent to the MAGA throne. Trump is increasingly saying, well, we've got a lot of interesting people. We've got Marco Rubio. It's very interesting. But as we continue to go forward, it is very clear that not only does J.D. Vance completely lack.
Listen, he had no choice but to pick Vance. He had no choice. They was not willing to talk to Kushner or Witkoff. They said, hell no.
Charisma and likability from the standpoint of the general public. It seems Trump doesn't really like him much as well. And of course, remember that it was Don Jr. and Eric Trump, reportedly, who convinced Trump to go with J.D. Vance rather than Doug Burgum. Now, I don't know how Burgum would have affected that ticket, but okay, that's not really the issue here. J.D. Vance went to Hungary. And while in Hungary, he attempted to get Donald Trump on the phone during a speech. In the midst of praising right-wing authoritarian Viktor Orban, J.D. goes.
Victor is out of there, y'all. We're going to go over that as well. He is done, and that is not looking good for us, okay?
Let's see if I can get a special guest on the phone here. And unfortunately for JD, it does not exactly happen. Take a look at this.
So before I started my remarks, I actually had a special guest that asked that I give him a phone call. And we'll see. Let's hope he actually answers. So this is going to be very embarrassing.
David, baby. No. I don't want to hear that. You said, I don't like Democrats or Republicans. I'm never voting again. You will vote. But before you vote, do your homework. It starts at the lower level. It's not about the president. You will vote, David. Don't say that.
All right.
I'm sorry. The person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Okay. Try one more time.
Eventually, he does get Trump on the phone. And Trump sounds pretty annoyed. And as I've said before, Trump sees J.D. Vance as an annoyance. Trump sees J.D. Vance as a lightweight, to use Trump's own term. And listen to how just sort of distracted and disoriented Donald Trump seems. He could not care less about what J.D. Vance wants to talk to him about.
Hello, Mr. President. How are you?
Hi. Hey, JD, could you give me a second? I'm just...
Damn and gang, this is crazy.
Wow, that's some...
Mr. President, you are on with about 5,000 Hungarian patriots.
Somebody said taco setup. I love it. I love it.
And I think they love you even more than they love Viktor Orban.
The Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards. Remember that, have no cards? He used that same line on Zelensky when he gave him dressing down in the Oval Office, the same argument. Right? The Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they're alive to...
Listen, Diamond Gang, he talking all that mess when he was prior to talking about doing a joint venture with the Straits, owning the Straits. Like, this man...
Day is to negotiate. Interesting, Mr. President. Yes, you've caused a lot of damage to Iran. They were on their knees economically before this war started. They have had a severe curtailment of their military capabilities. Absolutely. No doubt about that. Absolutely. Bravo for doing that, or some would say. But three things. They're still firing rockets all over the region, missiles all over the region.
With the help of Russia, with the help of China. Trump just threatened quite a few countries today.
Wanted regime change. There was a Khamenei before the war started. There's a Khamenei in charge now. And as for uranium, that 400 kg of uranium, where is it? Hasn't been found yet. So I would say, Mr. President, you may have got some cards in the sense that you can still pummel this country even more, yes, but they've got some cards too.
I think Iran has discovered that it has more leverage than it ever quite realized before. I don't think we can walk this back. So we're going to have to bring them in. So yeah, we're going to end up here and elsewhere, probably worse off than we were 5-6 weeks ago. What we
Pay
wanted.
attention, Diamond Gang, because it's happening right now. It's happening. They are supposed to block the straits in the morning. Now, there was 2 ships that supposedly went through, U.S. ships. I heard they had to turn around. I heard they had to turn around.
Those limit the scale of that. And I think, again, probably the wisest course here is not to do something to Iran, but to do something with Iran, to give Iran a stake in an open Strait of Hormuz. And I think we have a chance to achieve that, but probably only if we have the pressure of saying, you either agree to something reasonable, and again, try to get the Chinese and others to help us here, or we're going to make it impossible for you to benefit from the Strait of Hormuz. Plus, economically, we need this to come to an end. And politically, President Trump here at home is under pressure. There's very few Americans demanding that he escalate. Far more Americans, particularly in his political base, pressuring him to de-escalate, not to get into a quote-unquote quagmire. So I think Iran knows this. By the way, Iran is far better.
And these other countries that he's threatening to block it completely off, they do have access to nukes. So y'all better get ready.
Understanding us than we are them.
So I think the war has begun to impact the United States way beyond the Middle East. Even within the Middle East, I think U.S.'s stature as a singular outside superpower that can impose security for the region, particularly provide a security shield to its allies, has been shattered. As we've seen during this, that the United States, first of all, made no preparation for defending Persian Gulf monarchies. It was only prepared to defend Israel with its aircraft carriers and air defense systems. It was not even prepared to defend its own bases in the Gulf. It brought the war to the Persian Gulf without defending them. And
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that?
That has actually reduced its stature as a reliable security partner for the Arab world. Secondly, I think it's the way in which the world looked at President Trump, like he's walking 20 feet tall, everybody has to bow to him.
That part, he's acting like a spoiled kid, and he's playing with people's lives.
That has now been shattered because here is this Islamic Republic that nobody took seriously, has stood up to him, and is also showing the way for other countries to stand up to him. In other words, there are other choke points like the Strait of Hormuz.
And you best believe those other countries are counting every taco moment.
Varieties of other issues around the world that other countries could also manipulate in order to put pressure on the U.S. Thirdly, I would say that in a way, the Iran war has galvanized a broader public opinion outside of Iran, because Iranians obviously live under the Islamic Republic. They have very different views. But outside of Iran, all the anger that exists towards America and towards President Trump has now sort of galvanized much more, has mobilized much more. And therefore, the U.S. is facing a much broader, if you would, sentiment globally. And then finally, the big winner in this war is China for a number of reasons.
Bingo. And they get ready to get all in the middle of this big time.
One is, and Russia to that extent. One is that because the United States did not plan for a long war, it did not plan for ammunitions and for war production for a long war. It has used a lot of its both offensive.
And now we are going to Congress asking for billions of dollars. Did y'all hear what he just said? They have been planning for this war, and I say this every live stream, 47 goddamn years. That's a long time.
missile capabilities and defensive interceptors in this war, and he had not prepared to replenish them.
Want as much money as possible, and good news for them, they get to charge a fee because they control the Strait of Hormuz at this point. And reading President Trump's Truth Social post saying they have no cards except short-term extortion of the
They have the biggest card right now that they're playing
world by using international waterways seems like actually a pretty powerful card. I mean, we saw the inflation report, which you already referenced. We know fuel's up over 40% in the last month.
And Trump finally did admit today the gas will be going up even higher. He said that.
But Americans are feeling it. Europeans are feeling it. They're negotiating their own deals if they can. Even Japan, one of our great allies, is. They're getting essentially a 2-week break to rearm. The Russians happy to help. They had their sanctions eased as well for 30 days and $14 billion.
Which is crazy. We lifted sanctions off of Russia for Russia to help Iran. None of this shit is making sense. None of it.
Came off of the Iranians in terms of sanction easement, is that a word? Easing as well. So I don't think that they're feeling particularly cash poor at this moment. And I know that the administration has been out there saying, oh, no, those 10 points that Iran sent in, like that's all a fake news farce or whatever it is. Certainly wasn't.
That wasn't fake. They used that 10 point that Iran had to get them to come to the table. And when they got there, they presented their 15-point plan. They told Iran that their list was workable.
The messaging that was coming out initially, and that also had sanctions easing. The point that Pete Buttigieg was making this morning on CNBC, I think is a worthy one, that there was a deal in place, and if you want to change.
Somebody said gas is $126.71. Wait, $126.71 already, period.
Change it up. If you want to add new restrictions or enhancements that you think are going to make it better, that's a good place.
What's up, Bernard? I'm acknowledging you right now. What's up? Hit the like.
Is to start, but by ripping it up and then starting from zero and sending in a team of real estate developers who, yes, got hostages out of Gaza, but the ceasefire in Gaza, that's fake too. That's not, ask people what's going on in Gaza right now. There's no ceasefire, and there's the Board of Peace isn't even funded, and maybe we'll get to Gaza Lago or whatever.
President Trump solved a conflict. How many did Biden solve?
Oh my God. This is the thing.
This is what I'm saying. They keep bringing up previous presidents. Let's talk about right now.
This is what happened with Pete Buttigieg.
Real estate developers,
TV.
I'll put my money on them.
Oh, wait. Well, Steve Witkoff apparently didn't understand the terms of nuclear enrichment enough to even know what the Iranians were offering.
Who did you hear that from?
She's a fly on the wall.
Who did you hear that from?
It was
the Iranians?
reported.
Oh, by who? By the Iranians.
By Bloomberg. Right, exactly.
By Bloomberg. Were they in the room?
Okay.
There were two different agreements, one in Farsi and one in English.
That's not the one.
And the one in Farsi removed that phrase.
Also said that he knows what Vladimir Putin is saying and what Vladimir Putin wants in terms of dealing with the Ukrainians. And who in their right mind is going to trust Vladimir Putin about anything?
Trump?
J.D. Vance, like you said, he could come out undefeated. He could come out 0-1. He is new to this process. There's not a team of American diplomats going into it. There's Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff.
Well, the American diplomats for generations have gotten none of this effectively solved. None of it. And these guys do have a...
So Israel was surprised by Iran's response to this war.
By the scope of the response,
and its
not the
ability
fact that they responded.
To choke off the Strait of Hormuz was a surprise?
That, I wouldn't say it's a surprise.
Pay attention. They never thought that they were going to do this.
Because you should never be surprised by a rogue entity like Iran.
So what was it? Did you know they would do this?
But we would assume that Iran would not affect the global community and the supply chains of energy for the entire world.
And they did globally. They affected everyone.
Because of their predicament.
So you didn't assume
that is the problem of a rogue state.
You didn't think they'd do this?
We assumed and hoped that they wouldn't.
So you were surprised?
It was not part of our planning.
This was a surprise.
Not part of our planning. Not part of our planning. That's the problem. You go into war with two different military objectives. No plan B. This is why we are where we are.
It was not part of our planning, yes.
Why not?
What do you mean? I said it's not, nothing's a surprise. When you talk about an
it's not
entity,
part of your plan that Iran would do this, and it's turned out to be their single most effective response. Was Israel unprepared for this?
you do plan for all scenarios. You have to
Israel and the U.S. never thought that they would do this. Never thought that they would do this, and had no plans if they did.
plan for the worst scenario, right? Iran could have done worse.
You did not plan, said, for them to close the Strait of Hormuz.
We try to plan for all scenarios, and you must take into consideration even the worst scenarios. There were some thoughts that perhaps Iran even has nuclear warfare already, because you never know.
But coming back to this point,
I'll just finish my point.
Given the global economic impact that Israel did not plan for Iran to close the Strait of Hormuz.
It's not our plan; it's their doing. We don't plan what an
talking in circles.
Enemy would do. What we do is we
plan what an enemy would do ahead of going to war.
No, I said again. Allow me to finish my sentence.
Okay.
You do take into consideration all scenarios, including the worst scenarios, right? You hope that they won't happen, but it's not us to plan for Iran what they do. We take into consideration all the scenarios. You hope and you pray that an entity like Iran,
no plan of exit either. I guarantee it, period. Red, you right about that. We don't have one. And Trump wants out desperately. He does.
rogue entity like Iran will not do what is worst for them and for the international community. If they decide to choose that path, just like, Hezbollah, we called upon Hezbollah not to launch, not to attack. They would not have been brought into the conflict at all, but they decided to attack.
Okay.
They bear responsibility for their decisions.
Donald Trump's favorite show, Fox and Friends, is calling him weak, and he is weak. He is incredibly weak, and he's going to be even weaker once we take the House, at least from Republicans. But
and it's going to happen.
That's a story
the Democrats are flipping seats. I'm just saying, get ready.
6 months from now. This is coming from Fox and Friends, basically state television for Donald Trump at this point in time. This is the show Trump watches. He reacts to it. This is the show that sometimes sets the daily agenda for Donald Trump's tone and messaging. And even they are saying, something's off here. Here is a clip where they are talking about Trump's ceasefire effort in Iran. We call it taco. Trump always chickens out. And they are flat out saying—
Diamond Gang, I don't want to keep stopping this begging for likes. I don't care about a super chat, super sticker, nor a cash app. Just a like. It is free. Thank you.
The objectives that Trump laid out have not happened. No matter which explanation you believe and accept for why we are in Iran, they are saying it hasn't happened. Take a look at this.
But I will say that the president's demands, we have not reached any of those objectives.
None. Have you guys noticed that they stopped talking about regime change? They stopped talking about it.
Full confidence that the president is going to find some way to make this happen. But he said that we want to dismantle all major nuclear facilities. That has not happened. The end of uranium enrichment on the soil, they're still enriching. The transfer of the enriched uranium stockpiles out of Iran, that hasn't happened. The acceptance of intrusive international inspections, they're still not willing to do that. And they have not suspended their ballistic missiles program. They're still firing them off.
What y'all think about that? We have not accomplished any goals. None. So this is going on for what? This war of choice is going on for what? Somebody tell me, please.
The production of the long-range missiles. That's just a few of them on the president's proposal. The question is the president using this 2 weeks to give our soldiers a break, a rest, to see if we can get this ultimately done? We'll see.
What they are admitting here, in pretty plain language, they're not couching it in sort of thinly veiled defenses of Trump. They're saying his stated objectives haven't been achieved. He may have tacoed. He may have decided, I'm going to give Iran 2 weeks, but they're not spinning this. They're not.
You being serious, Bernie? Bernard, you said you are so good. How can you keep up? This is why I beg for likes, because I get up at 5 a.m. and I watch this shit all day. all day, and I put these pieces together to convey a story that I would like to, present to you guys. Even if it's opposing, you can oppose. I don't care. It's you could say what you want. You just can't be disrespectful to me or nobody in the chat. I want people to be able to speak their piece and speak their mind, even if it's against what I say. So I just watched this like a soap opera all day.
Framing it in any elaborate way or repackaging it. It just didn't happen. And when that kind of statement shows up on Fox and Friends, you see the crack in the messaging discipline that has been built like an eggshell, right? It's comfortable and cozy in there, but it can crack pretty easily around Donald Trump. Fox and Friends is a show that has spent years translating Donald Trump's actions into victories. No matter what he does, no matter how messy or unclear it is, it's a victory.
Part. And now they're even starting to, just say what they feel out loud. And they're not backing him as much.
You got to hand it to them. They're pretty good at presenting things as strength, leverage, and strategic brilliance, no matter how boneheaded they are. And they have completely shifted on tone. They are, as Megyn Kelly's frustration.
Let me acknowledge people real quick. Every time, join a like. I hit the like button. This is my first time here, and it's been great live so far. Hell, I appreciate you. Thank you. This is why I do it. These type of comments and just those likes, I really don't care about the damn money. Not right now. I want to become a full-time content creator eventually. But this is why I do it. I felt bad as shit that I didn't go on yesterday. Bad as shit. But I just doubled up and I came back today. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Also shows they are now trying to figure out, how do we process this? How do we sort of package it for our audience? And Trump doesn't ignore coverage like this. He actually internalizes it. He fixates on it. And sometimes
that part. And then he starts lashing out once he fixates on it.
He lashes out at people. He believes, and for the most part, he's been right, that Fox and Friends is friendly territory. And that friendliest of friendly territories now says he hasn't done the things he said he was going to do, whether it's the nuclear program or regime change or missiles or they have missed objectives, and these are.
He's going to go down in history, and I say this all the time. Our kids will be reading about this in their history books.
Problem for Donald Trump. And this is where the media dynamic gets really dicey for Fox News and for Fox and Friends. They have to walk a careful line. We've heard from the Republican voters who go, Trump's threatening war crimes. We heard from the Republican voters and the CPAC attendees who say, this is not what he promised. This is not what we signed up for. This is not what we voted for. Prices are up instead of down. Fox knows about that. But they also know that they function effectively as state television for Donald Trump, and that Trump will flip out on them and deny them access.
And he has flipped out on many different media sites
if they are too harsh. So they're introducing these calculated moments of reality. The objectives haven't been achieved. It's a controlled dose because they've got to maintain some credibility with the audience that looks out the window and goes, oh, what they're telling me is happening is not what I see out the window. And then they also have to continue pleasing Trump.
And they've been caught lying as well. When they were bringing those soldiers home and they changed, he had that ball cap on, they put an old clip up and they got caught in a lie.
Enough reality to stay believable.
Keir Starmer and Donald Trump's bromance has turned sour. But how bad have things got? Keir Starmer has said that he is fed up with Donald Trump.
Now, mind you guys, I put this clip in here because he's falling out with our allies. However, today he is telling everybody that other countries are going to join us in blocking the straits tomorrow morning. I don't think so. I really don't. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
And even appeared to compare him to Vladimir Putin during his recent trip to the Gulf. The Prime Minister stated that he was particularly unhappy with the impact that the Iran war is having on the domestic cost of living. But how do we end up here? Because for over a year, Sir Keir Starmer has been bending over backwards to stay in Donald Trump's good graces, even receiving criticism for being too accommodating. The pair have actually been surprisingly close, and this has been a point of pride for Keir Starmer, who made a point of having dinner with Trump even before
he is literally alienating us. We're going to be a country with no allies. It's just crazy, the things that he's doing.
became president, concluding that this is someone I can do business with. But all that came to a screeching halt over Iran. Early on in the war, in the House of Commons, Starmer rejected Trump's Iran strategy, saying that Britain does not believe in regime change from the skies. This was a rare moment of public defiance, and it landed terribly in Washington. Trump responded by mocking Starmer as not Winston Churchill, and later called Britain a once great ally. The tension had built up because Starmer had initially refused.
So tomorrow morning, when our great Navy get out there, I want to see who's standing with us.
US request to use British air bases for offensive strikes on Iran. Under massive pressure from Trump, and as the conflict escalated, Starmer did later approve defensive operations, and US bombers are now stationed in the UK. But in Washington, the damage was done. The relationship between the US and the UK isn't broken. Intelligence sharing continues, and institutional ties do run deep. But this moment has exposed the limits and the frailties of the relationship. Because even if the relationship between Trump and Starmer is repaired, it will likely never be as strong again.
It won't. It will not.
U.S. and Iranian delegation.
Now, Diamond Gang, we're getting ready to get into when they first got over there and things like that. Let's go.
Arrived here in Islamabad. The Pakistani Prime Minister said these were make or break talks. A lot is riding on the success of these talks. The regional countries
They were in there, I believe, for 19 hours. I want to say they said. Let's go.
The entire world is focused on what happens next. There are some sticking points. The talks are likely to be indirect, the same format that we saw in Geneva and in Oman, when the Omanis were going between the two sides, passing on the messages. So we expect.
And I'm going to say this again. Shouts out to Pakistan because they put this together. They did. They worked overtime to do this.
The same format here in Pakistan. However, if there is any success, then obviously we may see face-to-face meeting. But at the moment, these are going to be indirect talks. And Pakistan, of course, will be mediating between the two. It was because of the support of friendly countries like China, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, as well as Qatar that made this possible. But the credit goes to Pakistan for being able to arrange such a high-level meeting between two adversaries.
Let me tell y'all, this was really, really big. This was very big.
I have no reason to think that Iran won't stand firm in wanting to say no ceasefire in Iran without a ceasefire in Lebanon as well. I would suspect that Iran may go ahead with the talks and the meetings with Vice President Vance, but it will keep a stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz, which is the Achilles heel for Donald Trump regarding all this, and they will continue to do that.
If you're just now coming in, I like to start the news the day prior to, and then it'll lead up to what's going on in real time today.
Until there is a complete ceasefire in Lebanon, my sense is that the relationships between Iran and Hezbollah are so strong that Iran will stand fairly firm with respect to wanting to ensure peace comes, or at least a ceasefire comes to Lebanon with regards to this.
Do you think this is the beginning of the end of this war, or the potential of?
Now, this is a policy expert. I'm telling you guys, I feel like this is the beginning of a new phase of this war, okay?
Restarting again.
I think it's the beginning of the end of this phase of war. Whether it's going to translate to a long-term peace, I'm still skeptical about it.
I believe it's going to be long-term.
Especially with the relationship that U.S. has with Israel, Israel's capacity to wag the tail, capacity to pull U.S. into its own security.
That part, the power that they have to pull us in, Israel. He got to cut ties.
insecurities that Israel faces around the region. We haven't seen a solution of any of that, right? We haven't seen those solutions. Syria is still a moving piece right now. We have Lebanon and Hezbollah, Iran's relationship with all these actors. So those issues are still there, but those are long-term issues. I feel at least we will see the end of this phase of war.
And I told you guys Friday night, I showed you guys, Bibi is trying to start a civil war. He wants to take over.
I don't know if this is going to be a long-term change in US-Iran relationship, which went on one trajectory in 1978-79 with the Iranian Revolution. I don't know if the US and both sides are ready to rewrite that and move into a new era, but I think this is going to be the end of this phase of this 5 or 6 week of war that we've seen.
We have some news right now. Donald Trump woke up this morning and decided to invoke Allah again. Once again,
now this was before, excuse me, before the meetings. He back on Truth Social.
Long-range, long-winded Truth Social post where he attacked the fake news media, as he calls it, saying that they've lost total credibility. Then went on to say that the United States has launched a operation to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or rather clear it out, as a favor to all countries around the world. But then he goes and says, quote, "Their longtime leaders," referring to Iranian leaders, "are no longer with us. Praise be to Allah." Once again, invoking Allah, the American president. He did so on Easter, and now he's doing it again just a few days later. This is what the president's posting. Now, according to reports, the Iranians were not aware that the United States was going to start clearing up the Strait of Hormuz. So we'll see what happens on that front. Negotiations in Islamabad and Pakistan are currently ongoing. Vance is there, Rubio is there, Witkoff is there. I'll have another update for you soon. Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come very soon.
He was getting ready for the wrestling match.
This is breaking news. The American and Iranian delegations just arrived in Pakistan moments ago to begin negotiations. But before the talks have...
Listen, when I seen this Diamond Gang, I got so excited.
Even begun, you have Iran's Speaker of the Parliament issuing this statement saying two of the measures mutually agreed upon.
This specific moment will go down in history. This will.
Between the parties have yet to be implemented. Ceasefire in Lebanon and the release of Iran's blocked assets prior to the commencement of negotiations. These two matters must be fulfilled before.
Now, Diamond Gang, I want you guys to pay attention. All the way leading up until after the negotiations, everyone was looking at Iran's points, okay, and what they wanted, because they went in saying that some of the things were doable. They could work with it. Once they got in that room, they changed it. And they brought out the U.S. 15-point plan. But notice, all the media outlets are talking about Iran's plans. Let's go.
Negotiations began.
The Iranian delegation, while en route to Islamabad, Pakistan for...
Diamond Gang, trigger warning. This broke my heart. Trigger warning.
Truce talks with the U.S. brought the photos and belongings of all 168 girls killed at the Minab school massacre. Items held by the children on their last day, stained with their blood, were brought to negotiations to pay tribute for their killing. Mohammed Bagher-Ghalibaf called them my companions for the flight aboard.
I'm gonna pause it. Do y'all see all those kids in their book bags, in their pictures on this flight? Do y'all see that? It broke my heart.
An aircraft named Minab 168 named for these slain children. The seats carry their bloodstained backpacks, shoes, and other items. According to the Mehr news agency, these items represent conclusive evidence of war crimes committed by the U.S. evidence of the U.S. Tomahawk cruise missile that struck the school that these unsuspecting children were in.
You just deleted the person that said cry about it. That's what I was getting ready to check his ass. I was getting ready to check your ass. You are lucky my mods got you before I did. Don't be disrespectful. Just leave.
February 28th, 2026. These children are now a symbol of Iran's hardened stance, a determination to reclaim their rights in this negotiation. And this comes just 2 days after Iranians commemorated the victims of this attack in a massive vigil, a vigil that was held just hours before the US and Iran agreed to ceasefire talks. It sure isn't justice for those martyred children, but it's a start.
Negotiations between the United States and Iran are off to a pretty rocky start.
So from the beginning, it started off rocky. The negotiations started off so rocky.
Iran laying out 4 non-negotiable points and spokespeople for Iran saying they cannot trust the United States and they're going to keep their finger on the trigger. Here are the 4 fundamental and non-negotiable conditions. Full sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, complete war reparations by the aggressor, unconditional release of blocked assets, and a durable ceasefire across the entire West Asia region. This would include Lebanon. And according to a foreign minister spokesperson,
now remember Friday, it was rumored that they did unblock some of those assets. I think it was 10 million. Let's go.
The Iranian side held 2 to 2.5 hours worth of discussions with Pakistani officials. They said Iran's demands were conveyed based on the same 10-point proposal package. It was important for us to express our country's views without any ambiguity. Another spokesperson said, "We will negotiate with our finger on the trigger." She says Iran is determined to continue dialogue, but they're not going to back down or trust the Americans. They've made it very clear that Lebanon has to be part of this ceasefire, with a spokesperson saying, "We are in talks with our ambassador in Beirut, the capital."
And the entire time, Israel just kept on bombing. Bibi has no respect. None.
Capital of Lebanon to ensure that the commitments regarding ceasefire are fulfilled on all fronts. The U.S. has previously tried to include Lebanon in the ceasefire agreement. However, Netanyahu shut that down and kept striking them. So
that part. So we go in helping Israel, and they can't even honor that. They couldn't even honor that just to get the negotiations going. He don't respect Trump at all.
It seems like peace is in the hands of Israel. According to new reports, the U.S. has decided to send multiple Navy destroyer ships through the Strait of Hormuz during already fragile negotiations. A U.S. official said several U.S.
Now, Diamond Gang, the U.S., we're saying, oh, they went through, everything was fine. Iran said they made us turn back around. I don't know what's true. Let's go.
Navy ships crossed the Strait of Hormuz. The move was not coordinated with the Iranian Navy and was the first time U.S. Navy ships made such a move since the start of the war. 3 U.S. officials confirmed that 2 U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers passed through the strait without issue in what was described as a freedom of navigation mission. Iranian media additionally released a warning that any U.S. military ship would be attacked within 30 minutes if it attempts to cross the strait. And according to state TV, a U.S. vessel in the strait turned back after receiving this warning. Of course,
now, I did see a video. However, I had already uploaded my video of the warning. So I actually did see it.
Of course, a senior U.S. official has denied this claim, saying they did not receive any such threats. This comes after Trump said we're now starting the process.
I'm telling you, I seen it and I heard it. He gave them a warning.
Of clearing out the Strait of Hormuz as a favor to all the countries in the world, and he, of course, slammed the nations for not having the courage or will to do so themselves. All of this is happening during already fragile ceasefire negotiations, while Iran says they can't trust us. It's incredibly reckless behavior and almost makes me think we don't want to achieve peace.
This is breaking news. We now have it confirmed that the Iranian and American delegations have met face to face in.
So they did. At first, they thought it was just going to be via messages, but they did. They was all in a room together. This moment will go down in history. Let's go.
Pakistan, with Vice President J.D. Vance leading up the American delegation. These are now the highest level talks that have taken place between these two countries since 1979.
The U.S. and Iran are holding talks right now in Islamabad, Pakistan. This is the first time that they are meeting, and this is the first time such high-level meeting has been held.
Diamond Gang, I got 55 likes. Can you please get me to at least 100 likes? Please and thank you. I got 275 in the building, 304 in the building. Please hit the like. Please hit the like. Subscribe to the channel.
Since the rise of the Islamic regime in 1979. You've got Vice President J.D. Vance meeting directly with Mohammad Khalibaf, who is essentially the de facto ruler of Iran. He's the number 2 person after Ayatollah Moshtaba Khamenei. And Iran is sitting at the table despite the fact that they warned several times, saying that they would not sit at the table unless a number of preconditions were met, none of which were met. They had a number of demands from the United States. The United States did not meet any of them. And they demanded that Israel cease fire in Lebanon. That
Thank you for the ones that hit the like. I appreciate it.
didn't happen either. Today, Israel bombed 200 Hezbollah sites in Lebanon. Now, notice.
Did y'all hear that? Israel still bombing 200 sites. He don't want this to happen. Trump literally called him Friday and asked him to stop. And Bibi still, he gonna do what he want to do. Running all over Trump. Trump is a slave to Israel.
Israel has scaled back its attacks at the request of the United States. Apparently, they have not been attacking in Beirut, but in other areas of southern Lebanon. But there is no ceasefire right now in Lebanon. We do not know any of the results of the talks yet. They're still ongoing.
Now, remember, Friday, Bibi said that he would. He didn't. That was a lie.
After maybe 5-6 hours of talks that have been ongoing throughout the day today. But there are a number of issues that it appears that there might be no way forward. Chief among them, Strait of Hormuz. Iran wants to be able to charge tolls. They want this to be part of their country. The U.S. is saying no way. The U.S. has sent 2 warships during the talks and 2 warships through the Strait of Hormuz. This is the first time since the start of the war that the U.S. did this, and they wanted to clear a path to demine the area from the mines that the Iranians put in the strait to prevent ships from going through. So this is a significant development, despite the fact that talks are ongoing. President Trump said we'll know very soon if Iran is negotiating in good faith or not. Now, stay tuned for more updates regarding these talks, and check the stories for more updates.
President Trump says it will not take long to know if Iran is serious about the peace. Kelly, I'm thrilled to have you.
And Diamond Gang, I mean, I stayed up until there was a decision, until they came out and said that there were nothing happened.
You just talked to the president moments ago.
Yeah.
What is he telling you?
So we saw that he posted on True Social, which I believe you showed that, talking about how the U.S. has this massive oil and gas supply. So we called him after he posted that. He did pick up and asked him about that initially, what he meant by that. And I wanted to say what he told me, just a complete quote saying, "Take a look out of the great seas of our world, many of them heading to the U.S. to load up with oil. We have plenty of it." I asked him if this is because Iran isn't opening up the Strait of Hormuz. We've been talking about that a lot, impacting the global oil supply. He said that it isn't because of that. He says that will open, quote, in the not too distant future, which is interesting, though, because that was a part of the ceasefire agreement. He said Iran's
And again, Diamond Gang, first thing tomorrow morning, we are supposed to be totally blocking the straits. He basically threatened multiple countries as well.
Failing nation. He also said, I think people are going to see there are other alternatives to going through the strait. I also asked if the talks have officially begun, because there were comments that they haven't actually sat down. They need to get through this initial kind of handshake phase and then get down to the nitty gritty. He said they have talked. I asked if he feels as though the Iranians are acting in good faith, and he told me, I'll let you know that in a very short period of time. He said it won't take long. So we're still, it was about a 2-minute phone call, getting a couple other quotes, but he did warn that if the talks don't go well, they are ready to act. So a big phone call there with the president on a massive day of crucial talks that could indicate if we continue this war or if we don't.
Negotiations between the United States and Iran have reportedly already hit a stalemate.
Now we're getting ready to get into the negotiations being a stalemate, okay? Oh, this was a mess.
Over who gets control over the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran insists on retaining full authority over the strait. Iranian negotiators, led by their parliament speaker and foreign minister, have rejected joint control proposals and are demanding the right to impose.
And that's crazy, because prior to Trump he was for it. oh, we can control it jointly. Like that's
transit tolls on ships. However, the U.S. delegation, led by J.D. Vance, is pushing for an immediate and safe reopening of the strait, and
which is all unlawful. So how can you offer or suggest a joint venture of some unlawful activity? Nobody should have the straits closed.
Donald Trump has said he will not accept Iranian tolls and has even vowed to reopen the route with or without Iran's help. Meanwhile, fighting continues between Lebanon and Israel, another key point of these negotiations. The IDF reported striking approximately 200 targets across southern Lebanon overnight and through the afternoon. And Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health confirmed at least 10 people lost their lives in today's attacks, including 3 emergency responders. It seems like just a couple of hours into negotiations, they've already fallen apart. It's highly unlikely that Iran gives up control over the Strait of Hormuz
and it fell apart quickly. Come on, gang. I'm at 63 likes. Can y'all please get me to at least 100?
It's practically their only leverage.
This is breaking news. Central Command says 2 American destroyers successfully and safely transited the Strait of Hormuz today. Iran is strongly denying this, saying...
Now, this is where it comes in, the he said, she said. Prior to me coming on, I seen a video of a guy radioing into someone else saying that there were 2 U.S. ships, and I heard him call out the warning.
That the initiative for the passage and movement of any vessel is in the hands of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Well, we have some news right now. Negotiations between the United States and Iran have hit a stalemate over the Strait of Hormuz, and it comes as United States military officials via CENTCOM have been caught in a potential lie over whether or not the United States was able to, quote, clear the strait.
Y'all hear that? Caught in a lie, whether or not they were able to clear it or turn around. What I seen, there was one that was turning around. I don't know.
As Donald Trump started to claim this morning. So apparently 2 U.S. Navy destroyers were forced to turn back while attempting to transit the Strait of Hormuz after Iran's Revolutionary Guard threatened them and launched a drone toward their ships. That's according to Bloomberg, who cited a regional intelligence official. This directly contradicts U.S. CENTCOM's story and the story pushed by a lot of American media outlets. And it comes as J.D. Vance and other U.S. officials are negotiating with Iranian officials in Islamabad.
So it's basically he said, she said. I seen a video, but I can't confirm. I wasn't there.
Pakistan. And well, the Financial Times is reporting that, they hit a stalemate over who's going to control the Strait of Hormuz. The United States has apparently been pushing a lot of outlandish demands in these negotiations, and Israel is preparing for its next strike on Iran already, assessing that these negotiations...
This is what I'm saying. Even if we do go back to talk, it's not going to work. Until he gets a hold of Bibi, until he gets a hold of Israel, until he grows some balls and stop catering to them, it's never going to work.
Negotiations are going to fall apart soon. Spread the word, follow for more.
Negotiations are now at a stalemate between Iran and the United States. This is coming from the Financial Times, in which the one thing standing in the way right now is the Strait of Hormuz. In case you don't know, these peace talks are taking place in Pakistan right now, with J.D. Vance leading the U.S. side. And from the Iranian side, it's the Speaker of their parliament.
That part, $8 gas coming soon, because if he blocks it, other countries are going to get involved. And it's not going to be good, guys. It's not.
According to the Iranian state media, they said that the first round, which did finish up, took...
Who, you saying I'm right? Is it Kirkbank? Kerbank? Thank you if you're saying I'm right. I need you guys to please... I'm 32 away from 100 likes. I get thousands of views. I need my likes to go up. I don't care about a Cash App, Super Chat, Super Sticker. I don't give a good goddamn about that. I need you guys to hit the like button. Please and thank you. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Several hours, and now they're exchanging texts. But in one of those texts, we're finding out that Iran does not want to have joint control of the Strait of Hormuz. Top of this, Iran still wants to charge people to use the Strait of Hormuz, something that is not the way it's supposed to be.
It's unlawfully. They are committing crimes, international crimes.
That is international waters in which anyone can use. As this is happening, the U.S. Navy had announced that, yes, indeed, they are now clearing mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Commander of CENTCOM, Admiral Brad Cooper, said in a statement, quote, "Today we begin the process of establishing a new passage and will soon share this safe passage with the maritime industry soon to encourage the free flow of commerce." As that was announced.
Thank you guys for hitting the like. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The French President Emmanuel Macron had taken to X to also add that I stress the need for Iran to restore freedom of navigation and security in the Strait of Hormuz as quickly as possible, to which France stands ready to contribute. I insisted on the importance of fully respecting the ceasefire, including in Lebanon.
Either way it goes, our gas is going to go up. If we go in and we block it, no gas is going to get out. If we go in and we bomb, no gas is still going to get out. So it's just a lose-lose.
As soon as we have any updates on this information, I'll be sure to keep you updated. So please do share this video and follow me for more.
The first round of talks between the U.S. and Iran and Pakistan have finished. There is no deal. There's actually a lot more disagreements than agreements. The Iranians wanted full control of the Strait of Hormuz, a total ceasefire including Lebanon, and war reparations. It appears the Americans did agree for a ceasefire in Lebanon, but the Strait of Hormuz problem is where everything got murky. You see, we're in a ceasefire, and the Iranians already have control of the Strait of Hormuz, so this is something they don't want to give up. They're also charging ships millions of dollars to pass, generating a massive amount of revenue. So again, the Iranians don't want to give
$2 million a pop, y'all. $2 million a ship.
This up. Interestingly, the Iranians were okay with giving up some nuclear enrichment. The word described was flexible. Interestingly, today, an American ship tried to cross the Strait of Hormuz only for 2 Iranian drones to be fired.
That's going to be another long, drawn-out mission. Sending troops over there to go up under that rebel and to obtain it and to seize it. That's a process.
This is probably the Americans even testing if Iran still has control of the Strait, and they learned pretty quickly they do. The Iranians giving up nuclear enrichment and the Strait of Hormuz is just unreasonable. Because what the hell can the Americans give you beside reparations? And the same reparations Iran can make through charging people to pass the Strait of Hormuz. So that's stupid for them to give that up. The truth is the Iranians hold a lot of leverage and power right now. So why the hell would they give it up in negotiations? Comment your thoughts. Follow me for the news update.
Iran is now claiming the United States has agreed to release $6 billion.
Remember, I told you guys about that money. And from my understanding, it was 10. Not 6, but 10.
Dollars worth of frozen funds in Qatar and other foreign banks to open up the Strait of Hormuz. This is according to a senior Iranian official. However, of course, a U.S. official quickly denied the assertion. The senior Iranian source said this move is a sign of seriousness in reaching a deal. They also said it was one of Iran's demands in the messages conveyed to the U.S. side, and that Tehran had received a U.S. agreement to release the assets. The source told Reuters that unfreezing the assets was directly linked to ensuring safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. The senior source didn't give a value for the assets. However, a second Iranian source said the U.S. has agreed to release $6 billion in frozen funds. This money was originally frozen in 2018 and was set for release in 2023. However, after October 7th, Joe Biden decided to keep the funds frozen. Reuters doesn't just post a story like this without having confirmed sources. And
yeah, Friday night they were saying it was 10, not 6.
Of course, the United States is...
And that was the way to get them to talk. That's what I heard. They unfroze 10 billion, and that's why Iran actually, agreed to come and negotiate. Now it's a different story.
Told many lies in the past, especially when a move we make looks like we retreated. And this move doesn't look good for the United States. Giving Iran $6 billion to open the Strait of Hormuz, which was already open prior to this war, looks like a sign of defeat.
What does success look like? I don't think it's...
Yeah, let's talk about what success looks like for us. Because right now, we haven't accomplished anything.
It's going to be whatever we see with J.D. Vance and Witkoff and Kushner in Islamabad right now. Maybe they'll achieve some sort of temporary peace, which would be great. But what does what you're talking about actually look like, given how entrenched the Islamic Republic?
Shouts out to y'all. Thank you. Keep the likes coming. I'm at 92 likes. Give me 8 more, y'all. Come on. I got over 400 people, almost 500 people in the room. I need 8 more likes.
Is given the fact that Iran does have a history of wanting to embrace democracy, how do you actually fix Iran?
What I have been advocating for, I think that
I think she has a lot of good ideas. Okay, I really do.
The international community wants to be serious about helping Iranian people. There are many non-kinetic means to do so. Even in this Trump administration, from the outset of January of 2025, the Trump administration has cut funding for human rights organizations that have been doing work in Iran. There are bills in Congress right now, including one of my bills called the Iran Act, which is about internet freedom in Iran. As you know, the regime in Iran has cut off internet, shut it off for the 90 million population since the massacres began in January by the regime. We could be helping with that. We could be appropriating funds to help with direct to cell internet technology so Iranian people can get in line. And then any effort that has anything to do with promoting civil society, supporting Iranian people, it's got to be done in a multilateral basis. And then I'll just add, in terms of success as it pertains to the ceasefire, I absolutely think that Lebanon needs to be included. I am heartbroken for the Lebanese people who have seen over 1,800 people killed, the deadliest day of this war.
Bibi is not going to stop. He's not. He still wants to go after Iran big time.
Was actually on Wednesday, April 8th. Yep. More than 200 people were killed, and we cannot forget about them throughout any of this.
Since the ceasefire went into effect on Wednesday, roughly 30 vessels have passed through the Strait of Hormuz. Compare that to the more than 100.
Now, Friday, Trump was saying that they were doing a horrible job as far as them opening the straits and letting ships pass through. Not many has passed through. There used to be hundreds. As of Friday, it was 30, about 30.
That previously passed through every single day. And of the ships that have managed to get through, most of them have been cargo or bulk carriers, not oil tankers. Most companies are still waiting for security guarantees. President Donald Trump said yesterday that the strait will open, but that the U.S. doesn't really use it anyway. That's not the full picture, though. Vital fertilizers, aluminum, and petrochemicals, all used by the U.S., pass through.
Right, so we have more than just gas coming through the straits. One more light. Listen, Diamond Gang, I love the vertical world. I really do. Right now, I have a dual live going. One vertical, one horizontal. Eventually, I will be going straight horizontal so that I can cater to my audience and my subscribers. Please subscribe to the channel.
The strait, and its closure has upended global energy markets. All eyes now are on finding a solution. But for Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, where I am, the prospect that Iran could retain some control of the strait is a red line.
It's day 43 of the Iran war. We're on the ground in Tel Aviv. Let's take you through what's been happening across the region today. Iran and the United States have held talks in Islamabad. The Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, arrived in Pakistan early this morning along with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. Thank you for the gift. Thank you, guys. That part. Free America from Israel. I'm with you 100% because we are in this mess and we will continue to stay in this mess because of Israel.
And Jared Kushner. They met with Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif before talk.
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where I'm at. All right, let's go.
Began. The Iranian delegation is led by Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is also there. Pakistan is mediating the talks as both sides try to hash out some sort of deal to end the war. Iran's preconditions for those talks to begin were an Israeli ceasefire in Lebanon and the release of blocked Iranian assets, but there's certainly been no ceasefire. In Tehran, residents have cautiously welcomed the talks in Pakistan.
من فقط امیدوارم که خیلی عاقلانه و هوشمندانه مذاکرات انجام بدن در جهت صلح، چون که به هر حال جنگ به نفع هیچ کشوری نیست، به هیچ کشوری نیست و صلح فقط صلح خالی هم جواب مملکت نمیده، چون خیلی ضربه خوردیم. خیلی
That part, this was a war of choice. I've showed you guys videos where it basically Bibi is known to lie and to involve other countries into wars. And yeah, Trump was dumb enough to fall for it.
هزینه شده به جواب هزینه ها رو ملت باید بدن. امیدوارم حداقل یه نتیجه خیلی مثبت داشته باشه که
For those that don't know, anytime they say regime change, get ready. Those are called forever wars. You can't go somewhere and change a regime in 4 to 6 weeks. It don't happen like that. You can't. So anytime they say regime change, just get ready because it's going to be months and possibly years.
از این به بعد بتونیم با جهان ارتباط داشته باشیم و بتونیم هزینه هامون رو پر کنیم و کشور رو به پیشرفت بره.
Israeli strikes in Lebanon continue, despite President Trump's request to Benjamin Netanyahu to low-key it, meaning to slow down his attacks in Lebanon. And in Sidon, funerals have been held.
I say this every live stream. You have two leaders that wanted to accomplish different goals, okay? You go in with no backup plan. I showed you just how Trump came to the conclusion, okay? Kushner and Witkoff, they talked him into this. Bibi assisted. I showed you guys that. What happened and what went down in that situation room. I told y'all. I showed y'all videos on it.
For 13 state security service members who were killed in the...
He had no proof. He said he had a gut feeling. That's a lot different. That's worlds away from proof.
An Israeli strike in the southern city of Nabatea on Friday. In Beirut, emergency workers are continuing to pick through rubble as they search for people still missing after Wednesday's massive airstrikes. More than 300 people were killed and more than 1,000.
That's why now, when they speak about this war, you don't hear them say anything about a damn regime change. You don't hear them say that. Why? Why you think they're not saying it? Because it's not possible for a short-term war to have a regime change. If anything, we did a complete regime change. When Hegseth did that purge and fired all those people without reason in the middle of a war.
1,000 injured during those strikes. The Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors to the United States have spoken over the phone in what the Lebanese presidency...
Hi, Anthony. How are you, baby?
...called the first direct diplomatic contact between the two countries. The US will act as mediator in face-to-face talks next Tuesday in Washington. Footage from the IDF claims to show Hezbollah militants...
I don't know what the hell Bibi got over Trump, but whatever it is big. And I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but on this one, I don't care. I think it's the Epstein files.
Running after launching rockets into Israel. And in northern Israel, a rocket exploded in the border town of Kiryat Shmona overnight and across the day.
Israel just pimped us out. They just pimped us out.
Sirens have sounded in the north. Israel and the United States say that a ceasefire in Lebanon was not part of the broader deal brokered with Iran late on Tuesday night. But the continued fighting there complicates the already difficult discussions around the table in Islamabad. And until the guns are silenced in Lebanon, this precarious ceasefire with Iran might be hard to keep on track.
Benjamin Netanyahu said that fighting is going to continue despite ceasefire talks. And he...
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Bibi said he's not going to stop.
He even implied that he might expand this war to other countries as well. Take a look. In a televised address,
he wants a civil war, y'all. He wants a civil war. He wants to run shit.
as he pointed to a map of the Middle East and says the war is going to keep going on despite peace talks between the United States and Iran. He says that Israel is surrounded by enemies who want to choke it, highlighting Iraq, Syria,
and I seen this video today. He literally said that to them. I just didn't bring it over because it was in a different language. His language.
Yemen. He says Iran is just the beginning of what's to come. Here are some quotes from him. They want to strangle us. We still have more to do. At the same time, there's a third round of peace talks set to take place tonight in Pakistan, but there's a major...
And today he was out there in the field with the army. suited up just like them and told them, you guys did a good job, but we have more to do.
Dispute because Iran wants to keep control over the strait. And a source close to Iran's team told Fars the U.S. is making excessive demands, especially on Hormuz and other issues. The source said that ideas the U.S. failed to impose during weeks of war are now being pushed during negotiations. These demands are reportedly obstructing progress, as Iran says it's determined to protect the gains it made during this war. The U.S. needs to definitely talk to Netanyahu because it seems like he does not want to achieve peace.
That part. The U.S. needs to talk to Bibi. He doesn't want to achieve peace. Trump did that Friday. He did that Friday, and he agreed to chill out for these negotiations and turned around and start bombing again.
Meanwhile, the United States seems like they're no longer interested in negotiating.
Iran tried to trap us with a noose.
Sorry, I didn't think I got this clip, and I did, y'all. Because I made this video yesterday because I was supposed to go live yesterday. But this is him telling them to still just go ahead and keep on keeping on. Let's go.
On Hormuz and other issues. The source said that ideas the U.S. failed to impose during weeks of war are now being pushed during negotiations. These demands are reportedly obstructing progress, as Iran said.
Thank you for the gift. Is it Emin? Did I pronounce that right? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's go.
As it's determined to protect the gains it made during this war. The U.S. needs to definitely talk to Netanyahu because it seems like he does not want to achieve peace. Meanwhile, the United States seems like they're no longer interested in negotiating.
Iran tried to trap us with a noose.
Y'all hear this fool? Y'all hear this fool? Trump will not stand up to this man. Let's go.
Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Assad regime in Syria, the militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, Iran itself. They wanted to strangle us, and we're strangling them. They threatened us with annihilation, and now they're fighting for survival. We hit them hard. We still have more to do, and I'll detail that shortly. But I want to start with Iran itself at the head of the octopus, because I'm determined.
They said if the chaos stop, he goes to prison. They just reissued another warrant for him. That's on the next video I'm going to show y'all in a minute.
I'm determined. I've dedicated a significant part of my life to preventing one thing, that this terror regime acquires nuclear weapons with which it seeks to destroy the Jewish state and end Jewish.
And he talked Trump into this. The same shit he talking to them, he told that same shit to Trump. And he fell for it, y'all. Let's go.
History. I've spoken about this in Congress, at the UN, and in various parliaments. I authorized all kinds of operations, most of them covert, to delay them, and we did delay them, but the world didn't listen.
Y'all hear this, man? I can't stand him, man. I hate to even listen to him.
Many said it's not so terrible. It's not even that bad if Iran has nuclear weapons. I heard these voices not only abroad, I heard them even at home.
I was in a store the other day, y'all, and I ran into two men that was from the Middle East, and I asked them specifically about him. They said he was a piece of shit. That's what the man told me. He's a piece of shit. He said, I don't like Iran and what Iran has done to their people, but Bibi is a piece of shit, is what he said.
And I, as Prime Minister of Israel, head of the one and only Jewish state, I couldn't accept that.
Now, this is Trump. I guess he was on his way to the match, and y'all gonna listen to what he got his head to say. One clip, I actually cleared it, so you won't hear the planes in the back, but this one you'll hear them.
About reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
How do you know that? Why do you say that?
Are they real?
Why do you say that? You don't know anything. Who are you with?
NBC News, Philly Circuit.
ABC?
NBC.
Well, let's take two.
Mr. President.
Let me just tell you, we win, no matter what. We've defeated their military. They have no navy. 158 ships are underwater, undersea. All of their minesweepers and all of their, they call them mine droppers. Can you imagine? A country has 28 mine droppers. You think that's nice? With all of that being said, they're all defeated, by the way. They're all at the bottom of the sea. Now,
he keeps saying that. He keeps saying that. But with the help of China and the help of Russia, Iran will always have something in their back pocket. Do y'all understand that? They will always.
with all of that, they have no Navy. They have no radar. They have no Air Force. Their leaders.
He said they have no Navy, but guess what? When those 2 U.S. ships tried to go through the Straits of Hormuz, who was on the waters threatening us? Who threatened us, y'all? Iran threatened us. I thought you said you destroyed their Navy. Obliterated them. Let's go.
They're all dead. With Khomeini is gone. For many years he ruled. He's gone.
Again, I told y'all about regimes. When you unalive their leaders, they just become even more dangerous. There is no stop button with them. The Ayatollah's son just vowed to get revenge. I showed y'all that. Yes, what, Friday? Like, what?
All of that, let's see what happens. But from my standpoint, I don't care. They've been meeting for many hours, as you probably have noticed. We'll see what happens. Look, regardless, we win. Regardless what happens.
We don't win. We all lose globally.
We win. We've totally defeated that country. And so let's see what happens. Maybe they make a deal. Maybe they don't. From the standpoint of America, we win. One of the things that's happening is that boats are sailing up and heading out to our country. Big, beautiful tankers, and we're loading them up with oil and gas and everything.
Y'all heard. Whoever was in here, y'all heard what happened. That was a lie.
Everything else, and it's a pretty beautiful thing to see. We're going to see what happens. We're in very deep negotiations with Iran. We win regardless.
They said, holy SHIT, Fox News just called out Trump's lies about Iran's war.
President Trump there, about to board Marine One. He'll head to Andrews Air Force Base and then down to Miami for a UFC fight this evening. The president there talking about the war, the progress of the war in Iran. He said their leaders are all dead, but a couple of their leaders are actually in Pakistan right now, meeting with his vice president to talk.
Did y'all hear that? This is Fox News. I didn't say it. Fox News called him out. This is crazy. Hit the like, y'all.
Talk about some kind of a deal to end the war. We'll see what happens.
We have some news right now. President Trump is now threatening that if China sends arms to Iran, specifically these air defense systems that it's planning on sending, according to CNN, then it's going to have some, quote, very big problems.
Okay, I told y'all in the beginning of this live stream, he is threatening China. He's threatening other countries. Y'all think this is going to end nice? It's not. It's not going to end nice. And it may involve other countries. Let's go.
This is what the president said leaving the White House this afternoon. And it comes as there are ongoing negotiations in Islamabad and Pakistan between the United States and Iran. And I guess you could say Israel as well, even though Israel isn't there and is still planning on bombing Lebanon, even though Lebanon was part of the ceasefire originally. Now, at the same time, Donald Trump also...
John said the biggest liar corrupter in America history. Yeah. Yes, he is. Fox is wishy-washy. I hear. I don't watch them all like that.
That doesn't matter whether or not they actually get a deal, because once again, he's declared victory, saying that the United States of America has actually already won.
Somebody said MAGA now believes the government, and it's hilarious. He threatened the Pope. I know. I showed that on Friday. He threatened the Pope. That was crazy. All right, let's go. I can't wait to get to the comment section. We got a lot more to go over. Let's go.
The war, so it doesn't matter whether or not his negotiators secure any deal in Pakistan. So that's where we're at right now. The United States threatening China, and we'll see what happens with that. I'll have more updates for you very soon. As always, spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
We have huge news. This is Hungary.
Now, this is Hungary. This was before their little election. Let's go.
Tonight, tomorrow, there's a critical election and the far right is likely to lose. Viktor Orban, who is a close ally of Donald Trump's,
And we'll get into this on the next video, but they did lose, but let's go.
and JD Vance's, this is what he's facing. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets across the country in protest of Viktor Orban, in protest against his re-election bid. Odds show he's likely to lose. If Orban were to lose tomorrow, it would be a huge loss for the far right globally, but especially here in the United States. Vance was just in Hungary campaigning for Orban. Trump has campaigned for Orban online. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very important day, not just for the people of Hungary, but really for the people of the United States and across the globe. And we're going to see whether or not Viktor Orban, a far right authoritarian leader, loses. And it's likely he will. We'll see what happens. I'll have more updates for you soon. As always.
That part, you said, I will never forget that. Even generals told him Iran wasn't a threat. Yet he started a war because he can't negotiate. He said, I felt it in my gut. I felt like you felt it in your gut. That's what made you do this? Like, what? Let's go.
Spread the word. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come very soon.
This is The Week in Trump. No jokes or commentary, just
Diamond Gang, I always get this guy. He does a review of everything that Trump said out of control for the week. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Hit the like, y'all.
a dry, matter-of-fact list of the Trump administration shenanigans this week that we would otherwise forget next week for the week ending April 11th, 2026. All right, here we go. Trump posted on Easter morning to open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. He said the Iranian people told the U.S., please keep bombing. He said if it weren't for Americans wanting the war to end, he would take Iran's oil. The First Lady said of Iranian children in a war zone, all of this is happening for their future. Trump called PBS a radical left group of lunatics. He said he's not at all concerned about war crimes. He threatened jail time for the journalist who first reported the downed airman. He demanded loser Jessica Tarlov be taken off the air. He threatened a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. A statement the Pope said was truly unacceptable. Trump called Iranian citizens joining hands to protect their infrastructure totally illegal. They're not allowed to do that. He broke.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is not funny, but it's funny. He say some crazy shit, y'all. Let's go.
A ceasefire with Iran with unclear agreements. He called CNN a fraud for posting Iran's version of the ceasefire. He said without evidence that many of the 15 points of the U.S. version of the ceasefire have already been agreed to. He said the U.S. will be hanging around to make sure things go well in what could be the golden age of the Middle East. He said NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and remember Greenland, which is a big, poorly run piece of ice. He called the New York Times and CNN evil losers. He said if Iran doesn't reach a real agreement, the shooting starts, and America is looking forward to its next conquest. The DOJ said recently fired Pam Bondi will no longer appear for her scheduled deposition. Iran accused the U.S. of violating multiple clauses of the ceasefire. The Pentagon threatened the Pope. It was announced eligible American men will now be automatically registered for the draft. The Trump administration announced the dismantling of the U.S. Forest Service. Trump called Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones low IQ stupid people, nut jobs, and troublemakers. The First Lady announced that she was not friends with Epstein and that
I got an update on that too with the First Lady and Melania. I got an update. It's at the end of the second video I'm about to put on.
survivors should be able to speak. Plans indicate the taxpayers will help fund Trump's arch. Trump said Iran has no cards besides the Strait, and the only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. His NEC director said the Strait of Hormuz could be opened within months. He promised mass preemptive pardons to his entire staff. It was revealed Benjamin Netanyahu originally pitched the Iran war to him. He said Iran's Navy and Air Force is gone.
I told y'all BB pitched that to him, and I showed y'all just how he pitched it. Please replay my previous lives.
And that we're clearing the Strait as a favor to the rest of the world. The Pope said the cause of the Iran war was delusion of omnipotence. Trump said the Strait will open with or without Iran's cooperation. And he used his social media to directly influence a defense company's stock. Let me know what I missed in the comments, and remember the archives of previous episodes are available.
All right, let me put the second video on. We're about to get to it. Yeah, this is crazy. Let's go. Let's go, Diamond Gang. All right, let me see. Here we go. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on, gang. Hold on. I got to put it on my list. I'm sorry. I'm going to bring up the second video for y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Let me go here. Make sure it's in here. Sorry, guys. It's on my playlist. Let me save it to my playlist. All right, bingo. It should be under here. It better be under here. Hold on. Okay. I got you. Stay in here, y'all. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh, I know what I have to do. I'm sorry, guys. I'm hoping I'm able to get this up. Hold up. Uh-oh, we might be in trouble. Oh, here we go. War update 2.
Now let's just take a moment and try to wrap our heads around Donald Trump's war.
Let's go.
13 brave Americans killed and hundreds wounded.
All right, let me take it back. Y'all ready? Let's go, Diamond Gang. Hit the like. Let's get it.
Now let's just take a moment and try to wrap our heads around Donald Trump's war. 13 brave Americans killed and hundreds wounded. Thousands of civilians dead. Military equipment it will take years to replace. Skyrocketing inflation. Massive damage to our
This is what we facing.
reputation and position in the world. But Iran's ballistic missiles and drones are not destroyed. The regime is intact. Along with
I showed y'all, Iran is at 50% stockpile. And we're asking Congress for what? Billions of dollars to replenish what we had. Let's go.
its ability to throttle the global energy supply, along with its stockpile of highly enriched uranium, which it only assembled after Donald Trump shredded President Obama's Iran deal. And for all this, the White House said they already need $200 billion. $200 billion after 6 weeks.
Did y'all hear that?
10 years of nationwide pre-K. That's 9 years of paid family and medical leave. And while our national power and wealth are squandered and families are made to pay more for everything, rest assured, the Mar-a-Lago mafia are finding ways to profit.
And that's a fact, because his sons, they are making big money off of this war. Let's go.
Because of course they are. The Financial Times reported, quote, Pete Hegseth's broker looked to buy defense fund before Iran attack. A company owned in part by Eric and Don Jr. has been pitching Gulf monarchies on its drone interceptors.
They're making millions off of their drone interceptors. Millions.
Jared Kushner's already on the Saudi payroll to the tune of $2 billion, and he's been soliciting billions more from princes. And
Kushner, I showed you guys that. I told you he grew up with Bibi. Bibi used to stay at his house. Bibi went to school here in the U.S. in Philly. Kushner knew him as a child and has been intertwined with the Middle East for fucking years. That's Trump's son-in-law.
And sheikhs across the region while leading negotiations on Iran. And then there was the insider trading on oil. Did you all see this? Hundreds of millions of dollars in oil futures. Just minutes.
Every time Trump make an announcement about the war, there's a phone call being made. And guess what? They're putting their money on stocks and making millions off of it. Let's go. That's insider trading all day.
Before a presidential Truth Social post moved the price of oil 13%. Now, I don't know who placed those trades, but I'll tell you this. The SEC better find out. And if they won't, when you elect this new majority in Congress and you give us gavels and subpoenas, we will. We will.
Guess what the Republicans said? They are in fear when the Democrats take, if they flip seats and they run the House, because indictments are coming. That's what they said. I showed y'all a video on that. They said indictments are coming. They know what they're doing is illegal.
The ceasefire for Iran came right down to the wire. President Trump's first and very ominous post about Iran came at 8:06 a.m. on Tuesday. It said, a whole civilization will die tonight. About 10 hours after the president's initial statement, the United States announced that they had agreed on a ceasefire and that Iran would open the Strait of Hormuz. The White House portrays the outcome as a great victory for the United States, but it leaves unresolved the fundamental issues that led to the war. A theocratic government is still in place, and
that part, nothing was accomplished. Let's go, Diamond Gang. Hit the like.
It is still oppressing its people. The nuclear stockpile, including the 970 pounds of near bomb-grade uranium, is still sitting under a tunnel in Isfahan. Iran's missile capacity, while greatly diminished by the American and Israeli attacks, still exists. And of course, Iran has shown that it has enormous resilience and an ability to seize the Strait of Hormuz at any given point. Even during the ceasefire, the Iranians say the strait will only be opened under the supervision of the Iranian military, meaning that they have control and they will decide the pace of traffic that moves through and presumably which ships get approval. I've covered Iran issues for the New York Times for more than 20 years, but it was only in the past 2 months that I saw the United States willing to take the risk to go to war with Iran and to discover to its surprise that the Iranians were more resilient than they expected.
That part. They've been planning for 47 years. I don't know what the hell we was thinking.
Whether or not the ceasefire lasts depends on a few things. The first is whether the Iranians can keep from firing their missiles off against Gulf countries, and whether Israel abides by all the terms the United States itself has laid out.
And Israel is not going to do it.
I can also confirm.
Now, this is the ICC issuing a second arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi. Let's go. Hit the like. Give me the 200 likes. I'm at 140. I need 60 more likes. Come on, Diamond Gang. Keep me in this algorithm.
Today, that I have reasonable grounds to believe, on the basis of evidence collected and examined by my office, that Israeli Prime Minister.
If Trump don't think that he can't get a warrant issued for war crimes, he better pay attention.
Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international crimes committed on the territory of the State of Palestine from at least.
Is it Roy? That's what I believe. Trump is next. I don't know why he. I'm telling you that he think he catching the blues now. Just wait. Wait on it, y'all.
The 8th of October, 2023. The crimes include starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, willfully causing great suffering, serious injury to body or health or cruel treatment, willful killing or murder, and intentionally directing attacks against a civilian population.
Again, Trump said he was going to blow up every infrastructure. Y'all heard what he said. Y'all heard them threats. I don't know why Trump think that this right here can't be him.
as well as crimes against humanity of extermination and or murder, persecution.
I brought this clip here because I wanted y'all to see that this shit is real. When they say war crimes, this shit is real.
And allegations of crimes of committing other inhumane acts. It's alleged that these crimes were committed in the context of the ongoing armed conflict and as part of a widespread and systematic attack.
They are fighting right now for him to be brought in just alone off of that school bombing. I'm just telling y'all. And now he's online threatening to unalive an entire civilization, an entire country, he said.
Against the civilian population of Gaza, pursuant to a state policy. Unfortunately, these crimes continue to this day.
And what he don't understand, the threat is a crime. Not just the act, but the threat is a crime. And I'm going to show y'all what he said today. Oh, they could say death to America, but I can't say this. Like, what?
My office submits that these individuals, through a common plan, have systematically deprived the civilian population of Gaza of objects indispensable to human survival. We have reached that conclusion based upon interviews with survivors, many eyewitnesses, experts, from satellite imagery, statements from Israeli.
Emmett, I need you to subscribe to my channel, right? And I want you to comment on one of my videos or one of my posts. I'm going to give you a mod stick, okay? If you want one, let me know. I need you to be a moderator.
Officials, including the two individuals subject to the present application, as well as based upon several hundred authenticated videos, photographs, and audio recordings, many of which were taken and shared by victims and eyewitnesses themselves.
I remember that. Look, the Syrian said, remember when he tried to tell us Mexico was going to pay for a border wall for America? I could never take him serious. That, man, I remember that.
This systematic deprivation resulted from a decision to impose a total siege on Gaza by completely closing the three border crossing points, Rafah, Kerem Shalom, and Erez, for extended periods of time, and by arbitrarily restricting the transportation of essential supplies, including food and medicine, through the border crossings after they were reopened.
We have breaking news right now. Negotiations between Iran.
I brought that clip here because I wanted y'all to see that it is real. It is very, very real. It's real. All right, let's go.
Iran and the United States have failed. Vice President J.D. Vance has announced that no agreement has been reached after more than 16 hours of talks with the Iranians in Islamabad and Pakistan. The United States representatives will now return to the United States without a deal. He says that they have their best and final offer to the Iranians on the table, and it's up to the Iranians whether or not to accept. Well, here's the thing. We haven't heard from the Iranians just yet, but we knew that there was a stalemate over the Strait of Hormuz, but it looks as though there will be no deal. Peace talks are failing as we speak. Now, the ceasefire, and I say that in quotes because Lebanon is still being bombed by Israel, is still lasting for several more days. It's a 2-week-long ceasefire. And we'll see whether or not that changes and whether or not the United States begins a mass bombing campaign of Iran before that. We'll ultimately see what the next days have in store for this war, but peace talks, at least for now, round one, have not succeeded. More to come soon. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
The talks in Islamabad between the United States and Iran have failed. Let me repeat that. The talks in Islamabad between the United States and Iran have failed, despite Donald Trump stating that he would agree to negotiate within Iran's 10-point framework, which
I told y'all that in the beginning of this live. He agreed to work based off of the Iranians list. When they got there, they did away with their list and we pulled out our own.
began this ceasefire process leading to negotiations between the Trump regime, the United States, and Iran and Islam.
That part, Rock, there was no ceasefire because who? Israel kept bombing. You're right. Never been a ceasefire. You're right.
Islamabad. When the negotiations started to take place in Islamabad, the Trump regime wanted to change the negotiating framework and wanted to impose Donald Trump's plans on Iran. Iran refused, said, you agreed to our framework. The negotiations lasted over 14 hours. J.D. Vance just came out moments ago and stated that the negotiations are now over. He says Iran...
No, they don't. And that's what I'm saying. You go in to a war with different objectives with no plan B. This is what happens. He's a slave to BB Rock. He can't get a hold of him. So if y'all think this is going to end soon, y'all are sadly mistaken. It's not. It's going to end very badly.
Refuses to accept our ultimatum and our demands. And this is very bad news, J.D. Vance says, but it's much worse for Iran. It's worse news for them than it is for the United States. Moments ago, J.D. Vance went out and held a press conference saying that these peace talks are now off. Iran's refusing to accept the demands being unilaterally imposed by the United States. And I should note, while J.D. Vance is holding this press conference, folks, Donald Trump is in Florida at a UFC match right now where Secretary of State Marco Rubio is there clapping for Donald Trump walking all around looking cognitively.
Diamond Gang, they booed him. They booed him. And guess what they did? They blasted the music to try to drown it out. I bullshit y'all not.
And physically addled at this UFC match right now, while the negotiations in Islamabad have completely broken down. Folks, this appears to mean that the war is going to resume. Frankly, as I was saying before, this was a ceasefire in name only, a way for Donald Trump just to manipulate the markets. Now, here is what J.D. Vance said in the press conference moments ago from Islamabad, saying that there is no agreement. He says Iran has chosen not to accept our terms. Here, play this clip.
Marshall Munir, who were both incredible hosts, and whatever shortcomings of the negotiation, it wasn't because...
Right before I came on, we are supposed to be blocking the straits at 10 o'clock a.m. This war is going to escalate. It's going to escalate. Let's go.
Because of the Pakistanis who did an amazing job and really tried to help us and the Iranians bridge the gap and get to a deal. We have been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement.
Come on, Diamond Gang. I got almost 700 in the room. I need 40 more likes. Get this video up in the algorithm. I need 40 more likes. Please and thank you. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel, because eventually I will be going horizontal. I will go vertical sometimes, but I got to start going horizontal.
Made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
Well, it should be noted that the United States accepted Iran's terms, the 10-point plan, going into this negotiation.
That part, here they go, tricking. They tricked them to get them to the negotiation table. They do not trust us. And it's just sad because they begged for Kushner. They wanted Kushner. Not Kushner. I'm sorry, J.D. Vance. They wanted J.D. Vance. They do not trust Witkoff and Kushner. And they asked specifically for J.D. Vance. So for them to do this is ridiculous. They told them boys, this list is workable. I thought it was outrageous, but we said it was workable. The U.S. did. Let's go.
And then Donald Trump does what Donald Trump always does his entire life, commit fraud and try to change the terms.
But the simple fact is that we need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon, and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon. That is the core goal of the President of the United States, and that's what we've tried to.
The goal has been 50 different things. They change the goalpost. They change it every 2 days. They change it. First, it was regime change, no nukes. We want the uranium.
To achieve through these negotiations. Again, their nuclear program, such as it is, the enrichment facilities that they had before, they've been destroyed. But the simple question.
That part, remember, they told us they obliterated, they destroyed all of that. They told us that last year. That was a lie.
Is, do we see a fundamental commitment of will for the Iranians not to develop a nuclear weapon, not just now, not just 2 years from now, but for the long term? We haven't seen that yet. We hope that we will.
We've reached understanding on a number of issues. That's the reality. But regarding 2 or 3 important issues, the views were quite distant and ultimately did not lead to an agreement. This is the latest status that I can announce to you. Diplomacy never ends. Diplomacy is always a tool for securing and safeguarding national interests, and diplomats must do their duty in all circumstances, whether in wartime or peacetime. This round of negotiations took place after 40-something days, 40 days of imposed war, and a few days after the ceasefire, in an atmosphere filled with mistrust, suspicion, and ill will.
That part right there.
In any case, the American side committed a military transgression against the Islamic Republic of Iran, along with the Zionist regime, for the second time during the 9 months. Therefore, it was natural.
Second time in 9 months. And I explained this to you guys. Please go back and replay my previous lives. They were in the 6 rounds of negotiations. Iran had agreed to dilute the uranium and to sell it as something else. And Israel talked us into bombing. Israel bombed them first, and then we did. Hitting that school. Let's go.
That from the beginning, one should not have expected that we could reach an agreement in a single session. I don't think anyone had such an expectation, despite the fact that I said this session was the longest we've had in the past year. Some new topics were added to the negotiation agenda this time, such as the Strait of Hormuz or the Gulf region. These have their own conditions, characteristics, and necessities. But I think that in any case, we must, as diplomats and as the diplomatic apparatus, continue to pursue our national interests under all circumstances, using various
Thanks, gang, for hitting the likes. I need 20 more. I'm at 180. I appreciate everyone that hit that like. Thank you.
tools to safeguard the security, rights, and interests of the Iranian people. Contacts and consultations between the Islamic Republic of Iran, Pakistan, and other friends in the region will continue. Diplomacy, alongside other components of the government, alongside our good people, and alongside the defenders of the nation, are ready for all kinds of cooperation and sacrifice to safeguard the interests and national security of the country.
We've been speaking to the Pakistani sources who've been telling us that they haven't spared any effort to try and bring these sides together, bringing them back to the table. Although this was a historic day of the highest level of coordination between these two sides, but it appears that it has ended without a decision. The Iranians will have to make public what this deal is that the United States has left on the table. So far, we don't have any clarity on what this is. Why was it such a difficult issue? And why can't it be resolved through negotiations? Remember that the United States has wiped out, or Israelis rather, have killed the Iranian supreme leader. There is a new supreme leader in town. There is a new chief of the IRG.
Did y'all hear that? So their regime is still their regime. Their regime is still their damn regime. Trump said We unalived all their leaders. No, they didn't. Oh my goodness. Let's go.
See, and we were talking to some people who are close to the negotiations, and they were telling us that the move by the previous supreme leader to not have a nuclear weapon, or we don't know if that stands with a new supreme leader. I will have to go back and see what he says about it. And on all of these issues, we're definitely going to be taken back to Tehran, where there are, according to many sources, detractors, people who do not want to see an end to the conflict because they feel that they have the upper hand. They've been able to withstand the attacks by the United States and Israel for the last 6 weeks. They've been able to essentially hold and choke the Strait of Hormuz, and you're seeing the reverberations across the globe, whether it is energy supplies, fertilizers, aluminium, helium, you name it. There are repercussions, and there are warnings by world leaders, including many of the United Nations, that if this carries on, it is not just going to be the energy shocks. You heard from the Qatari energy minister that this has the potential of bringing down a global economy.
It will, and it is.
So I think there is a realization of the kind of dangers that it poses, but it appears that according to Iranians, the United States continues to shift the goalpost.
We have breaking news this morning. Donald Trump, in response to failed Iranian negotiations, has announced the United States will impose a naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, saying that he will finish Iran off at an appropriate.
Y'all hear that? So tomorrow morning, we are going in to block the straits and not supposedly allow anything to go through. This is going to escalate in a major way.
Appropriate time. This is his latest Truth Social post. Now, folks, this is a major.
It said finish them off at an appropriate time, which means what he has said in the past. I'm not repeating that shit.
Escalation by the United States of America, by the President of the United States. A naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is going to enrage countries like China, countries like India, and will fundamentally cripple the global economy. He is essentially saying no ships coming in or out of the strait.
And remember, he threatened China yesterday.
Controls 20% of the world's oil. Now, China relies on the strait, India relies on the strait, a whole host of countries rely on the strait to allow tankers to pass through. Trump.
He is alienating the U.S. He's alienating us, gang. He is. No country will like us.
Is saying nothing is coming in or out. What the president is now saying is that the United States is essentially going to control what happens in the Strait of Hormuz. And I can guarantee you Iran is not going to be okay with that. And he says if Iran wants to fire upon any peaceful ships or U.S. ships, that they're going to be blown to hell. That's what he says. But ultimately, this is going to enrage America's adversaries and allies and could cripple the global economy. Spread the word. Subscribe to my Substack.
I think China's going to get involved. They already was helping Iran, and so was Russia. I need y'all to subscribe to my channel. Y'all know I'm going live, and y'all know I'm going to watch minute by minute tomorrow.
Link in bio to support. Follow for more.
In a new post on Truth Social, Donald Trump has announced his plan after negotiations failed. He's going to blockade any and all ships that try to enter or exit the Strait of Hormuz. He says the meeting went well and most of the points were agreed to, but the only one that really mattered, nuclear, was not. So now, effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will start blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. I've also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters.
That part, this is the same thing I said. He is pushing us in a corner by ourselves. This is disgusting. Yes, he is. The U.S. will leave a bad taste in a lot of different countries' mouths. Do y'all understand that? It's going to put us, like you said, in a corner. We're about to have the lowest gas price in history soon. Our military is sick. Hey, he has a right to feel the way he wants to feel. I'm not even going to comment on that. You have to realize that there is two kinds of ships in the straits, those with transponders and those without, which is a shadow fleet. The shadow fleet takes oil to sanctioned countries. This chick should be on CNN. Stop playing. Y'all so silly. Let me continue. I'll read the comments later. Stop playing. You being smart, okay? It's not even that I'm rooting for it. I'm not.
That has paid a toll to Iran. No one.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I don't like liars. If you lie, and I say this every live stream, if you lie, you will steal. Well, we know our president steal because he's a convicted felon. If you steal, you will kill. He just threatened to unalive everybody in the country. He just threatened to commit war crimes. And it's sad that I'm relying on other sources to figure out what's going on because he lies so goddamn much. He's a liar. That's not a lie. He's a liar. Let's go.
One who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on high seas. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end the situation. Of course, he says their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone. Then he has the nerve to say their anti-aircraft and radar.
I'm not lying about anything. But if you don't like what I'm saying, get your ass on. Bye. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you leave. I said you got the right to say what you want to say. Don't be disrespectful or you got to go. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. There's thousands of people that's live right now. Leave. Leave. Your president is a liar. He's a thief and a convicted felon. And he threatened to unalive an entire country. That's not a lie. He's got caught in multiple lies. I don't lie. It's not in me. All right. You can love Trump. I don't care. Scream it in the chat. You can love him all you want to. But what you won't do is disrespect me or anybody in my chat. Let's go. That part. He a war criminal.
Are useless after multiple American jets have been shot down, concluding with "We are fully locked and loaded and our military will finish up what little is left of Iran." This is a terrible idea that's going to lead to more escalation and even higher gas prices. Not to mention Iran has spent decades preparing for this exact scenario with mines, fast attack boats, and missiles.
All right, so President Trump just announced that the U.S. is setting up a naval blockade of Iran. Quote, effective immediately, the United States Navy will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. He added that he has instructed the Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran, saying no one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. He did note as well that this includes a number of other countries. I haven't seen anything on that. Who else will be involved here? This one will be interesting.
Don't be mad at me. Be mad at your president for being a liar that he is. That's it. That's all. He's a felon. He's a felon.
Look, what Iran has done with the Strait of Hormuz is they didn't shut it down completely, although that's the best terminology to be used here, is they have just said, we're only going to let through who we want to let through. And at this point, it's been Iranian tankers or allied tankers or ships that are paying this toll to the IRGC. So there are still open lanes in and out of the Persian Gulf. What we're doing here seems to be very similar to what was put in place off the coast of Venezuela about a year ago at this point, where we were hunting down and boarding and seizing sanctioned tankers. I don't know how well that will go when it's not like a Shadow Fleet tanker, but like a flagged ship containing oil or something that, say, China has bought and they've paid Iran to move it through. If we intercept that, if we board that ship, I feel like that's quite a bit different.
Okay, let me stop it. He had 34 felony accounts, New York hush money case. According to Donald Trump has one criminal conviction on record. 34 felony accounts for falsifying business records in the first degree. I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. Let's go.
than like a Russian shadow fleet tanker off the coast of Venezuela. But either way, it looks like following the talks not really leading anywhere overnight, the next step.
It says a New York jury unanimously convicted him on all 34 counts May 30th, 2024. I don't lie. Don't ever come in here and call me no damn liar. Let's go.
The United States, naval blockade of Iran.
With no deal struck in Islamabad, no time is being wasted this Sunday with the president announcing his next move against Iran, a naval blockade. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No.
So once again, Diamond Gang, this will escalate. I'm done. I'm not entertaining no more trolls. I'm just deleting them up out of here. You got to go. Listen, you can say whatever you want to say, even if it's opposing to what I have to say. All I'm asking is not to be disrespectful. You have the right to like Trump. You have the right to feel the way that you want to feel. I'm not taking that from you. Don't take it from me.
No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. Vice President J.D. Vance leaving Islamabad saying that while there was some progress that was made with Iran and some of their positions were actually suitable, they could not strike an agreement on the number one issue.
The simple fact is that we need to see affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon.
At this point, they're not going to see it. I don't think that they will because they don't trust us. That's it. That's all. They want to be able to do that to protect themselves.
We have some big news this morning. The president of the United States is facing major pushback for spending his night at a UFC fight last night while J.D. Vance was in Islamabad.
Right. The world globally is in trouble, and this is what he was doing. Don't get mad at me. I'm just a messenger. Let's go.
In Pakistan, negotiating a ceasefire deal. Many are saying, well, it wasn't even a real negotiation if you're just going to be at a UFC fight while your vice president is across the world negotiating a peace deal, even though that peace deal completely fell through, right? Negotiations did not work. Vance is on his way home. Did not work.
And not only that, he got booed. They booed his ass. Boo.
Trump and Rubio, the Secretary of State, they spent their night at a UFC fight in Miami, Florida. And at the same time, right now, there is historic turnout happening in Hungary. Why is that a big deal? Because polls close in an election that could decide whether or not far-right authoritarian Viktor Orban is ousted. J.D. Vance went and campaigned for Orban. Trump has campaigned for Orban virtually. Since Vance left Hungary, Orban's chances have plummeted, and historic turnouts suggests that Orban could be on the out today. So major developments right now. I'll have another update for you soon.
Somebody just put in my comments, blacks love Iran. Nah, blacks don't love liars. That's what blacks don't love, liars. We can't stand them. You're banned and blocked. This is what we were doing while Vance was over there. This is what he was doing while Vance was over there negotiating. He could care less. He's on to his, he wants to hurry up and get to try to take over Cuba next. He out of pocket and he's out of line. Thank you. Is it the sleepwalker? I appreciate you. Thank you. Somebody said blacks love Iran. I'm like, what? What the color has to do with anything?
We're getting ready to go live, and there are.
So that's what he was doing while Vance was trying to negotiate this ongoing ceasefire. Pathetic.
Real concerns here in the Gulf region about what happens next after those 21 hours of direct talks between the U.S. and Iran ended with no agreement. Now, I will say, hopes were not high that they would be able to.
Rock, I'm with you on that. Iran has a right to defend themselves. Here's the deal. Do I like what Iran has done to their people? Absolutely not. But Trump not being transparent, this war being a war of choice, him being a slave to Israel, I'm not okay with none of that shit. Nothing about it.
To hash out a deal in just one session, given the glaring disparity between the demands of the two sides. But still, the question now is, where does this go? Does this mean the ceasefire is over? Will fighting resume? And crucially, what does this mean for the Strait of Hormuz? That is so essential to this region's economy. Everybody is now waiting and watching to see how President Donald Trump will respond. He clearly wants to end this war. Yet I'm reminded of Machiavelli's famous maxim, wars start when you will, but they do not end when you please.
All right, so the U.S., Iran, maybe Israel, maybe Lebanon ceasefire is still in place, but
this is my guy right here. Very sensible guy. I watch him a lot. And he makes a lot of sense. Yeah, when you have a president running around threatening to unalive and commit war crimes and things like that, I can't be on board with no BS like that.
the first round of negotiations has just wrapped up with no tangible results. And that's kind of to be expected, right? In the last few days, we saw enough from the...
When you condemn people and then you become those very same people you condemn, Trump is becoming them. He wants to be just like his boy, Bibi. He want to be like Bibi.
United States and Iran, that both sides kind of felt like they had the upper hand or had a lot of leverage going into these talks. And when that's the case, you kind of have to expect a bit of a stalemate on the back end. And that's what we have here. Now, it's not accurate to say that they fell apart.
When you become that very same person you condemn, right? He talked all that shit on Iran just to become threatening to unalive countries.
Or they failed. This was the first attempt at talks since the war began. And the ceasefire is still in place till April 22nd. So there might be another round that gets scheduled here before too long. And while there's no public changes on the back end, the fact that the two parties are talking means that there might have been some things agreed upon, or they found a middle ground somewhere. And that's just not a key component of the messaging right now. Now, according to the New York Times, they cited some Iranian officials saying that there are three main sticking points that remain: the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, the fate of nearly 900 pounds of highly enriched uranium, and Iran's demand that around $27 billion in frozen revenues held abroad be released. Great. If we're down to just three issues now, that's a good thing. Those are very...
Now, you see how Joshua said, go Trump? I'm cool with that. You could put that type of stuff in my chat. I'm okay with that. What war crimes? Him threatening to unalive an entire country is a war crime, just the threat alone. Do you not understand that? I just showed you a video. They just issued another arrest warrant for Bibi for war crimes.
Complicated issues. So good if we got it narrowed down to just those three. The bad news is that that those three could take weeks or even years to actually come to some sort of agreement on.
Entire civilizations. Sleepwalker. Yes. That's a crime, Brian. That is a crime to say that. Just to say that. Let alone act on it. Listen, I'm going to tell you again, it is. Like, y'all don't believe shit. Boy, hold on. It's a crime. Just the threat alone. And I showed you guys that, 2 days ago on a live stream?
But either way, first round of negotiations wrapped. Ceasefire technically still in place. At least the United States and Iran are not firing at each other. And I would keep an eye out here in the next couple of days to see if another round of negotiations is scheduled.
Think of it. They're allowed to say death to America, death to this, death to. And I make one statement, they say, oh, such a big deal. Let me tell you, that statement got them to the bargaining table, and they haven't left. They haven't left the bargaining table. I predict they come back and they give us everything.
Another lie. Another lie. Okay, a threat to kill to unalive an entire country falls under multiple categories of international crimes, depending on the wording, intent, and context. The sources you trigger in the search makes this very clear. Here's a full, clean, factual breakdown. Threatening mass civilian destruction can qualify as a war crime. What part of that are y'all not getting? It's a war crime. It's a war crime. A threat. It is, listen, Article 51 of Additional Protocol forbids threats designed to terrorize civilians. Did y'all not hear what Trump said? Like, boy, bye. Let's go.
We want. And I told my people, I want everything. I don't want 90%. I don't want 95%. I told them I want everything. So we have the greatest military equipment. We have the greatest people. We have the strongest military in the world by far, and everybody sees it, whether it's Venezuela or what we've done with Iran. And when I read, the fake news talking about how well Iran's doing, they're not doing well at all. They're getting killed. I could take out Iran in one day.
The United States has just suffered its worst strategic defeat since the Vietnam War, and this may even become worse, a bigger defeat than the Vietnam War. Well, Iran has in just 40 days.
Listen up, because guess what? In just 40 days, they are rising. They're in 4th place right now.
Emerged as a rising 4th center of world power.
Okay, so international law prohibits threats meant to terrorize civilians under the Geneva Convention. Can y'all say that? Geneva Convention. Target civilians, threatening violence intended to terrorize civilians. That is what he did. That's a crime. That's a threat. All right, let's go.
Power. And those facts, those strategic facts, are represented by the fact that the United States and President Donald Trump have accepted true as a basis for negotiation, but effectively have a 10-point peace plan, which is all in favor of Iran. It does not provide any strategic gain for any of the goals that the United States had before the war, and is doing nothing to reverse Iran's rising global power. Iran, of course, on the flip side, has gained the opposite. It has all of its enriched uranium. That is enough for 10 to 16 working nuclear weapons.
Did y'all hear that? So he put them in a better position.
It has effective control, and now effectively permanent control of the Straits of Hormuz, which means 20% of the world's oil. It can dictate the terms. And then over the months and years, it will be able to take that greater oil revenue, that greater power, and
y'all going crazy in the chat. Calm down, tone it down, y'all.
Almost surely fashion nuclear weapons. There is not going to be anything that the United States can do about that, or the world can do about that. There are no on-site inspections in this 10-point plan. They're not even mentioned whatsoever.
Well, Daniel, Netanyahu now says that they're going to have talks directly.
How am I going to be proven wrong, sir? What does it matter? You'll be proven wrong tomorrow over and over. No, I won't. This war is escalating. It's escalating. That's a fact. It is escalating. Trump has no exit plan. Trump has no goals accomplished. What has he accomplished? I'll wait. What has he accomplished? I'll wait. Bye.
Between Israeli officials and Lebanese officials. They very clearly wanted to separate Lebanon out from this ceasefire agreement or sort of attempt at peace this weekend. A lot of confusion over that because clearly the Pakistanis as well as the Iranians were under the impression that that was a key pillar of where the discussions were going to start. Netanyahu clearly wanting to separate that out. But do you think he is working right now to spoil this entire thing? Is that essentially what you're saying?
I think it's hard not to draw that conclusion. In Lebanon, what you saw immediately after this ceasefire was announced was not just another Israeli strike.
That part. He hit 100 targets in less than 10 minutes. Tell y'all president to be a man up, and deal with Bibi. That's what he could do. Deal with Bibi.
Lebanon is a country that has known so much war and suffering, and this was one of the most devastating strikes that we have seen across multiple, you're showing me images, across multiple spaces in Lebanon, not spaces considered Hezbollah strongholds. And it's important that there might be negotiations, but what
Somebody said, men give it up and let women handle it. You guys are horrible. Gail. I gotta get out these comments. I gotta get done with this live. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's go.
people may not be aware is that late last year, in something that's very unusual, Lebanon and Israel had officials sit together. There were negotiations. But as has so often been the case, and it pains me to say this, the Israeli side did not come in with a position that could lead to a political solution, could lead to a diplomatic opening. So the fact of talks.
Diamond Gang, I'm at 214. Can y'all please hit the like? Get me to 300. Get me to 300. Men these days don't have balls. They don't. I don't know what's going on because he cannot stand up to Bibi for some odd reason. Y'all going crazy. I want to be in the chat now. Hit the like, y'all. Let's go.
Is secondary. The question is what's inside those talks? And is Israel going to continue to strike Lebanon? And is Israel going to try and push a situation where what it offers the Lebanese government is either we bomb you or you bomb your own people or you have a civil war?
That part. And I do believe that that is what Israel wants. They want a civil war. I really believe that. Let's go.
Of course, Hezbollah is a divisive issue inside Lebanon, but it becomes less divisive when Israel is killing civilians there. And
thank you. I tried to, Jeremy, you said, hold on, Michael, to the host, I respect you because you entertain views opposing to yours once the people are respectful. I will. But if they talk crazy, I'm like, I can't highlight that. I will. There's a lot of people that come to my live streams and they are Trump supporters. And I let them say what they want because they're not disrespectful.
And it's this egregious cruelty which ends up creating unity. And they're not going to go for a civil war. Iran hasn't gone for a civil war. The Palestinians haven't gone for a civil war.
James, it's definitely a game of chess. And I feel like Iran is playing chess. I do. Let's go.
War. Lebanon hasn't gone for a civil war. Again, this time yet at least. That's what Israel unfortunately is pushing for. And there is criticism inside Israel that
good night.
There's no political plan to back up what Israel is doing militarily.
Something that doesn't get enough attention in war.
Thank you. You said you like my voice. Incognito. Thank you. Good night. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Or is the difference between perception and reality. As in, Iran's perception right now is that they have the upper hand over the United States, so they're unlikely to give in to any of our demands at the negotiating table. Now, you can argue up and down about whether or not that perception matches reality, but it doesn't really matter all that much, at least not right now. This is where, in a war, you can't have two sides that say we won.
That part, you can't have two sides to say we won. Both of them are saying we won, we won, we won.
Has to be, if you are still in that place, you have to continue fighting that war until one side says, fine, actually we didn't win. We accept the terms of our defeat. And we're not there yet. Now, you can argue about the loss rate in the Iranian military, right? Their Navy and Air Force are effectively gone. The leadership's been taken out. When you look at the losses there compared to U.S. and Israel, it's night and day, right? There's no question there. But the message being portrayed inside of Iran to their people throughout the region, and even from Iran to the United States, is that the United States asked for a ceasefire because we could not get the Strait of Hormuz open. Like, that was enough of a pressure point that it forced the United States to say, how about we get together and talk about this?
That part, because they swear that they were begging for a ceasefire and they weren't.
Again, we can argue whether or not that perception is reality, but if Iran enters the talks with that feeling, then why on earth are they going to give in to any number of U.S. demands? They're probably going to enter into those talks thinking that they can extract more concessions out of the United States. They're not even on the same page of thinking that they're showing up to negotiate their surrender. So in that sense, not surprising at all that the first round of negotiations fell through and nothing material came of that. We'll see what happens now with this blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. But again, the perception inside of Iran right now is that they have the upper hand. And that's a problem. When both sides declare victory, is you end up in a situation like this where you're not really able to come to any sort of settlement.
This right here, this guy, I love him. He is brilliant.
At the end of hostilities.
In a statement this morning, President Trump said the U.S. Navy would be blockading the Strait of Hormuz and reflecting on yesterday's talks. He said, quote, "So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to."
So for the ones that's in the chat that just believe so much in Trump, what do you think this blockade is going to do? But escalate. Outside of escalate, what else do you think good will come out of this? Can you put it in the chat for me, please?
To Iran, no one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas, end quote. Which is kind of weird because a couple of days ago when Iran suggested that it was going to put a toll on everything going through the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump literally said they should do it as a joint venture.
Bingo. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So Trump goes from we're blocking it prior to he was just saying, let's do a joint venture where we can make money and charge tolls. This is your president. All over the place. So you was willing to will and deal in illegal activities with them, running the straits and charging a fee. That's international law. They cannot be doing that. This is insane.
With America, both countries should get together and charge tolls, which would be illegal under international law. So now if you paid a toll, you're in big trouble from the Americans.
That part. They better not be charging. He has dementia. You go from let's run it together and charge to, oh, they better not be charging because they're going to be in big trouble. Like, and you guys wonder why I feel the way that I feel. This dude is a liar.
President Trump is weighing in on the outcome of those talks in Pakistan, saying that, quote, most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. He also says the U.S. Navy will begin a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and that any Iranian who fires at us or peaceful vessels will be, quote, blown to hell. There's no
another threat
word on what Mr. Trump is suggesting was agreed to.
Mr. Taco himself with his threats
at this point.
Issued a threat to Iran that he is going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz. And I just want to ask Donald, how are you going to block something that is already closed? He said that the U.S. Navy will begin to blockade any ships attempting to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. And what he's suggesting then is that in order to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, he must also close the Strait of Hormuz, which is already closed Because
she's pissed. Come on, Diamond Gang. I'm at 230. I need 70 more likes. I got 578 in the building. 70 more likes. Get me up there, please.
Reminder, during the ceasefire talks with the U.S. and Iran, only 2 ships were able to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. They had originally...
No, what I say is, let me tell you what I do. What I do is I build these videos and I gather these clips to tell a story that I would like to convey to you, okay? This is my story. What I say is you can oppose. You don't have to agree with my story, but this is how I see it and this is how I view it. So this is how I'm viewing it for myself. This is what I say in the beginning of every live stream, that I'm trying to tell my story. All right, let's go. It's my story. It's mine.
Originally proposed that any vessels passing through the international waterway pay a $2 million toll to Iran in order to pass through the strait. But that has not actually happened in reality. Only 2 ships were able to pass through. So
at the end of the day, I think this was a war of choice. I don't agree with it. This is the way that I want to convey that to my audience. This is how I feel. You can not like what I say. I'm okay with that. I'm not saying everybody in this chat has to agree with me. That's it. That's all. But I say that in the beginning of each live stream.
Donald Trump's threats that the U.S. Navy is going to seek out any vessel who has paid the toll, they're moot. Almost nobody actually has. What is interesting, though, is he noted that other countries will be involved in this blockade of his without naming those countries. What other countries does Donald think is going to be involved in this nonsense plan? And
nobody's helping him. Nobody. He has managed to alienate us. Nobody's helping him.
Are they aware of their participation? Iran, however, has said with the breakdown of negotiations that they...
Tomorrow, when I go live, I cannot wait because somebody said I'll see tomorrow and I'll be caught in so many lies. Let's see if somebody helps. Donald said we had countries helping us, backing us up tomorrow to block it. I'll be back tomorrow to let y'all know.
They will not hesitate to shoot at U.S. ships. And the U.S. is also suggesting potential military action. There was no chance for diplomacy here from the start. And the resumption of hostilities may, in fact, be more intense than it was before.
It is. It's going to escalate. Let's go.
Snapshot of today is that Iran has been so far the strategic winner of this war, in that when President Trump launched this war, he had big ambitions. He was going to totally destroy Iran's nuclear program again.
He thought that he was going to go in just like he did Venezuela, and it didn't happen that way. He let Bibi and them pump him up, and Bibi told him this is going to be so easy. We're going to take down a regime. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it did not happen.
Totally destroy its missile program, destroy its proxies, and perhaps even implode the Iranian regime. And 6 weeks later, the regime is still around, and they've managed to shift the conversation about the war because no one is talking anymore about the nuclear program and their missiles or the regime going away. Everyone is now talking about the Strait.
That part, they shift the objectives every day. They just keep shifting the objectives. Jay Sweet, you don't have to be here.
The diplomacy had not closed after Islamabad, we thought, but clearly he is now taking a military action. Now, it doesn't sound like that's the bombardment of Iran again straight away, but what is quite remarkable, and it is a remarkable development from the US president, in order to try and secure freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, he's launching a naval blockade. So in other words, to try and open the strait, he's going to close the strait. It's also interesting that he says that other countries will be involved in this blockade. Which countries will those be? And then he says, at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded. So this is stage 2, that they might start the bombardment again, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran. So I think there's a threat in there. There's the blockade first, and then there's the threat if Iran doesn't back down. I suppose this is pressure to try and encourage Iran to say something different than it said just hours ago in Islamabad, then it will take action.
The Iranians have stood firm. They walked away from here as well, saying they would like to get closer to the American side. This seems like an absolute red line for President Trump.
I'm not sure what President Trump's red lines are because they seem to change all the time. His rationale for the war has changed all the time. You know, the threat to bomb the entire civilization, and 90 minutes before that, okay, we're not.
This right here changing all the time. All the time.
Not going to bomb the entire civilization. And I don't know exactly what the offer was that J.D. Vance put on the table. He had a brief press conference and he said, we need to make sure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. But Martha, as you know, Iran entered into an agreement with the United States and other nations, both allies of the U.S. and China and Russia in 2016, reaffirming.
Yeah, remember, and y'all president tore the shit up. Let's go.
That they would never purchase, seek, or acquire a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump tore that up. He tore up the restrictions on uranium production. He tore up the restrictions on centrifuge production. He tore up the deal that allowed intrusive inspections in Iran. So J.D. Vance says now that, well, Iran won't agree to what they agreed to 10 years ago. I'm sure.
Why would they? Why would they? Him tearing it up was just idiotic.
Iran wonders if we agree to it, will the United States tear it up again and bomb our civilian infrastructure and kill school children and engage in an assassination campaign against our leadership? This is not going to be an easy negotiation because the last negotiation that led to a control of Iran's nuclear program, the U.S. made the decision to tear it up and walk away from the deal. I think that decision by President Trump to tear up a diplomatic deal will go down in history as one of the worst decisions.
Bingo. And it is. It is. I'm not complaining about anything. I'm stating facts. He's a liar. He's a liar.
In the foreign policy space ever made by an American president. If you make diplomacy impossible, you tend to make war inevitable.
I predict they come back and they give us everything we want.
That's what President Donald Trump said in an interview with Fox News just hours after his negotiating team left talks with the Iranians without an agreement to end the conflict. He also issued a stark warning, once again threatening their energy infrastructure.
I could take out Iran in one day. I could take out.
What up, Mike? If you see anybody being disrespectful, snipe them.
In one hour, I could have their entire energy, everything, every one of their plants, their electric generating plants, which is a big deal.
Trump, who is spending his...
You hear him? Still threatening war crimes.
His weekend here in Florida said that he believes the negotiations, quote, went well, but that there was only one point that really mattered.
And that's why he's always chickening out, because he thinks his threats are working. And they're not. They're not. He done chickened and tacoed out about 4 times already.
We got just about every point we needed, except for the fact that they refused to give up their nuclear ambition. And that's the only point, frankly, to me, that was the most important point by far.
Now, there are still a lot of questions about...
I went over this already. The war crimes is the threats. Him threatening to unalive an entire civilization. That is a war crime. That is a war crime. The Geneva Convention, it's a war crime. Just a threat. I just showed y'all a video. They just issued a second arrest warrant for Bibi, for Netanyahu, for this same, but for the actual action. But just the threat, that is a war crime.
What's next? But Vice President J.D. Vance, who led these negotiations, said that this was the best and final offer.
Israeli officials are reportedly happy that negotiations between the United States and Iran have failed. And one of the
I bet Israel was super happy because this is what they planned. They sabotaged the deal from the beginning because they just couldn't stop bombing, because Trump couldn't get enough balls to literally tell them and get on them to stop.
Their largest media outlets is celebrating, saying a dangerous deal was avoided. Political officials in Israel are satisfied with Trump's decision to halt negotiations with Iran, making it clear, much like Netanyahu, they don't want peace, they want expanded conflict. And Channel 14, one of the most watched news networks in all of Israel, have said the breakdowns of talks prevents a dangerous deal that would have allowed Iran to maintain its nuclear threshold. They point to the fact that J.D. Vance left Pakistan without an agreement as evidence that Trump is not willing to compromise on Israel's core security requirements. The channel has echoed Netanyahu's stance that the campaign is not over yet and that this 2-week ceasefire was actually just a tactical pause. Channel 14 has also praised Donald Trump's announcements of blockading the Strait of Hormuz, effectively making the problem even worse. When a country is openly celebrating after peace talks fail, that should tell you everything you need to know about their objectives. Netanyahu has made it clear he is not interested in peace. He wants to form a greater Israel.
And that's who we're working for, him. We're working for Bibi.
This is breaking news. After President Trump announced a naval blockade of Iran, Iran's Revolutionary Guard says that any naval ships approaching the Strait of Hormuz,
I hope not, Sugar Plum. I hope he don't see it out.
Will be treated as a violation of the ceasefire and dealt with harshly.
According to new reports from the Washington...
Call it what you want to call it. If you don't like it, sir, you can leave. Or ma'am, exit. You don't have to be here, sweetie. You don't. Hold on, y'all. I could do this all day. Block, and ban. All right, let's go, y'all.
Post, Iran has maintained the core components of its nuclear program even after 5 weeks of extensive U.S. and Israeli strikes, which have cost the U.S. taxpayer billions of dollars. Iran likely still has functional centrifuges in a deep underground site where it can continue uranium enrichment. Additionally, Tehran has a remaining stockpile of nearly 1,000 pounds of near weapons-grade uranium. Much of
somebody said, "I love this propaganda channel. Get the F out of here." Y'all crazy.
This material is buried underground as well, making it extremely difficult to destroy or extract. Analysts have also emphasized that while some facilities can be damaged, Iran's institutional knowledge and scientific expertise cannot be eliminated by bombing alone, allowing for them to obviously just reconstruct anything we destroy. The goal of the Trump administration is to literally get Iran to commit to
chicken butts. You don't have to be here either. What are you doing? What are you doing, chicken butts? What you doing? You gotta go. Have a good night, chicken butts. Okay, let's go, y'all.
Not building a nuclear weapon in the future. But we already had this under Obama's nuclear deal. It says Iran reaffirms that under no circumstances will it ever seek, develop, or acquire any nuclear weapons. After spending tens of billions of dollars, losing U.S. troops, taking the lives of thousands of civilians, and crippling the global economy with his nuclear deal that Trump got rid of.
We're going to be apologizing to the world for Donald Trump for decades. What has he done in the area of foreign policy that has improved an American relations?
Y'all see how I just put that comment up, the Straits of America? I'm not mad at that comment. This person right here supports what Trump is doing and wants America to run the straits. I'm cool with that. This person wasn't disrespectful.
Relationship. I know some of you might say, well, Saudi Arabia or Israel, those are transactional relationships. And I'm sorry, go talk to anybody serious in Israel to think if they actually think Donald Trump is a reliable ally. Anybody inside in the upper echelons of the UAE or the Saudis, right now they thought Donald Trump was a useful idiot that they could manipulate and buy off. Well, they bought him. They've bought the family, and the man's still unreliable. They think, oh no, I can control him, and nobody ever can.
Well, yes, News if you want to know what the president is putting out on his Truth Social while the country's at war, gas prices are rising, and folks can't afford health care. It's this. What happened to Bruce Springsteen prior to plastic surgery? Question mark.
This is what he was doing, gang. While he was threatening, he talking about Bruce Springsteen prior to plastic surgery. This is what your president was doing. This is what he was doing. He got time for this foolishness? Okay.
Question mark. We'll post on the president's Truth Social account in the middle of negotiations, or rather lack thereof, over the war in Iran. What happens next? comes after Donald Trump imposed a blockade, according to him, of the Strait of Hormuz. And well, now he's posting about Bruce Springsteen's looks. Now, I post this because two things. Number one, I think that people need to see what the American president is focused on right now during the war. But also, second, once again, just imagine what prior administrations would face from the media if they were posting this. But no one really posts anything. No one in the media really talks about what Trump is doing right now. So in terms of Bruce Springsteen, I guess, spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. I'll have another update for you soon. Breaking news right now. The United States military has announced a blockade of all Iranian ports, of all ships, Chinese ships, Indian ships, Russian ships. Every single ship coming in or out of an Iranian port will be subject to the blockade beginning tomorrow.
I hear that? Tomorrow. And I'm going to be on it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I will be back tomorrow night to tell you guys what happened throughout the day.
April 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the blockade will begin. Iran has already fired back, saying via Iranian state media that it will not accept this blockade. Folks, the ceasefire is done with, essentially, because if Iran doesn't accept the blockade, which there's no reason why it should, and back and forth. And so now we're in a situation where the United States is blockading all ships coming in and out of Iranian ports. Now, ships that want to traverse the Strait of Hormuz, not to go to Iranian ports, those are fine. They won't be impeded. But say a Chinese ship wants to get to Iran, U.S. is going to let it. And with that,
and don't forget, he threatened China yesterday.
Could create some major problems because that's no longer just the U.S. and Iran. That's also China.
And they definitely have nukes, so
spread the word, follow along for more.
Do you know what the president means when he says that the United States Navy is now going to be blockading the Strait of Hormuz that we are trying to open?
Let's listen and see.
Has that been briefed to Congress?
I think, well, of course not, because it was just announced yet as you were, discussing this morning.
All along, and this was part of
what
the plan.
What is clear in the strategy, as the president has said, is the straits are not just.
Zach, I agree. You said as a vet that, and I'm a vet too. That's what people don't know. I announced it in my last live, Army vet. As a vet, these people have no effing idea what they're doing. I agree, Zach. As a Marine, they clearly do. That's what Truth says. He's unhinged, sleepwalker. I agree. Get the psycho out of the White House, please. I agree. Let's go.
It's the United States issue. It is also a Europe issue. It is a worldwide issue. And Iran should not be permitted. Iran should not be permitted to control the straits. And it's not just a United States issue.
Did they mind it?
And Iran should not be permitted to just decide who gets through.
Listen, guys, just real brief because this live will be over in probably about another 20 minutes. Please subscribe to the channel. I will not be going vertical as much as I do. Pretty soon, I will be going not strictly horizontal, which is, just a regular live stream. From my understanding, a lot of people from the vertical world don't understand what that is, but it's through StreamYard. So you'll still be able to see me live. It just won't be vertical.
And Europe, our NATO allies, others who have certainly an interest in the straits should be coming to the table, and it should not just be a U.S. issue.
Here it is. He's saying it shouldn't be just a U.S. issue. The Straits was fine before he decided to do this. He did not consult with our allies prior to going to war, period. So why should they help clean this mess up? Let's go.
The president, by saying we're not just going to let them decide who gets through, is certainly calling all of our allies and everyone to the table of this needs to be addressed.
Did they mine the Strait of Hormuz? Because in that tweet today, the president also said they might not have.
Well, I think,
because he said no.
I think you'll have to ask the president.
He all over the place, but he's supporting.
That's
tweet.
The point that Congress has not been briefed on that. As a member on oversight and armed services, do you feel like this has actually been adequately explained to you? Because the American public does not.
The president just tweeted this.
Nothing has been explained to us. He's never been transparent about anything because he don't give a shit. He don't give a shit about the ones that, Trump, this, Trump. He don't give a shit. He don't care.
Morning. So you'll have to ask the president.
The whole thing is a fantasy. The United States went to war in Iran.
I want y'all to listen to this. Tucker Carlson says he feels sorry for Trump, as I do for all slaves. He said that Trump is a slave for Israel. I agree.
In order to effect regime change, to throw out the people who ran the country and collapse it at the behest and then the demand of Israel. And that's a demand the Israelis have made of the U.S. government for decades. And President Trump fell for it, did it. And I think he recognized immediately that it was a mistake and that it's very hard to extricate yourself from a war like this once it has begun. And I think the net effect, and the president himself has said this, is at best to leave the regime in place, give that regime control over commodities that flow through the straits at the eastern end of the Persian Gulf, in effect to make Iran much more powerful than it was on February 27th.
You have been, until now, really, a huge supporter of his. You wanted him elected, obviously,
Yes.
for a second term. Have you completely fallen out with him over this war, then?
Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him.
You said Trump doesn't need to explain himself. He knows what day it is. I don't think he does. He's very confused. He's all over the place. He's a liar. You know, our tax dollars pay. We're paying for this war. You think that he shouldn't be transparent? You feel like we shouldn't know what's going on? Everybody should be clueless of what the objectives are? Okay. I hope you don't have any children, sons, daughters that could potentially be sent over there. Let's go.
I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
No, he's not free. And we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms or most of its terms public. And then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by...
Boom. Israel intentionally violated the terms and Trump did nothing. Bibi got that man by the balls. That's all I'm saying. Bibi got that man by the balls. He disobeyed the orders. Who's in charge? Us or them? Let's go. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to let y'all hear it again.
You wanted him elected, obviously,
Yes.
for a second term. Have you completely fallen out with him over this war, then?
Well, I haven't fallen out with him. I mean, I've known him for decades. I've always liked him. And I think anyone who spent time with him likes him. I feel sorry for him, as I do for all slaves. He is not free in this moment at all to do what he thinks is best for himself or his country.
What do you mean?
He does. Trump does. He told Bibi Friday to stop. And he didn't. He didn't. We are in this on behalf of Israel. If y'all can't see that, I don't know what else to say.
No, he's not free. And we learned that yesterday when Donald Trump announced a ceasefire, clearly with relief, and made its terms or most of its terms public. And then that ceasefire ended within 2 hours because Israel intentionally violated the terms by attacking not just southern Lebanon, but the city of Beirut.
So are you saying he's a slave to...
Nah, Tucker's seen the light. He's seen the light.
Benjamin Netanyahu?
I don't think it's as simple as he's...
A lot of MAGA people feel that way. You can't tell? The Democrats are turning seats right now. You can't tell? Okay.
under the control of Netanyahu. But, you know, you could summarize it that way and you wouldn't be totally inaccurate. And again, we know this because
he is under control by Bibi. He's under control by him. Diamond Gang, come on, gang. I need 28 more likes. Please hit the like.
is the single biggest mistake Trump or any American president in my lifetime has made was going to war with Iran in an effort to change its regime.
One man is playing a huge role.
Now we're getting ready to get into Hungary. Let's get it. Let's get it, get it.
In the Hungarian elections today. Nope, it's not President Trump. It's this man behind me. Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president's face is plastered all across campaign posters in Hungary today. But he's not running. So what is going on? Viktor Orban, Hungary's far-right prime minister of the past 6
He's out of there. He's out of there. And that's not a good look. I'm telling you guys. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Get me 15 more likes, please, y'all. 15 more, please. Let's go.
years has plastered Zelensky's face all over campaign posters here in Hungary with slogans.
JD Vance was down there trying to, it didn't work. It did not work.
Slogans like, they are dangerous. They paint Zelensky as a puppet of the West, somebody who wants to drag Hungary into the war in Ukraine while carefully failing to...
Sugar Plum, you're right. He literally sat in the U.S. Pentagon at the head of the table. I showed that video Friday and told Trump to go to war. Told Trump that he did. I showed that video Friday. Don't believe me? Go back. Watch the replay.
Mentioned that Russia started the war in the first place. Orban is blocking Ukraine from getting a loan worth billions of dollars from the European Union. And he's the only EU leader who is shielding Vladimir Putin and Russia from facing economic pressure.
It looks like Russia gonna get what they want because he's out. Let's go.
For their full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. He's met with Putin multiple times, refused to send aid or weapons to Kyiv, and has positioned Hungary as Russia's closest friend inside the European Union. The Hungarian Prime Minister is framing this election as a choice between...
Sleepwalker, I believe that he does. He has some information on Trump. For some reason, Trump just does what he says. He just goes along with the shit. It's weird.
Peace under him or war under his opponent, Peter Magyar. But are voters buying it?
They literally got caught in a lie Friday. Lying for Israel. Lying for him. Lebanon was included originally. And then because Bibi decided to keep on bombing them, all of a sudden they get up there and they lied. And said that Lebanon wasn't a part of it. They were.
Well, we went to a polling station early in Budapest today as voting began.
The announcement that they made, they gave the announcement to Pakistan. They gave Pakistan the announcement. And that announcement that they put up it had Lebanon on it. They lied and they got caught in a lie.
And spoke to voters. Here's what they told us.
Orban is very anti-EU and pro-Russia, and I think that aligning yourself with, in my opinion, a war criminal is not good for the country of Hungary.
This was a common value shared by everybody in Hungary.
Thank you, Diamond Gang. I need 8 more likes. Thank you. I appreciate everybody that hit the like. Thank you.
That Russians are not our friends. We might have economic relationships with them. We might live next to each other, but we are not friends. We don't ally with them.
It's important to remember that Budapest is a city that has leaned against Orban for quite a long time. It's not Orban's base vote. So whether the message about Ukraine resonates in this election today, well, only time will tell. Prime Minister Viktor Orban has just accepted defeat and...
He lost, Diamond Gang. Ooh, it's looking bad for the right.
Congratulated Peter Magyar on a victory, an apparent victory in this election with nearly half of the votes in. It looks like the opposition TISA party are on course for a 2/3 majority in the Hungarian parliament. And the Prime Minister Orban, who's been in charge for 16 years in Hungary.
JD Vance didn't do nothing for him. Nothing for him.
Looks set to be out.
Major news, everyone. Holy shit. Viktor Orban has lost his election and he has conceded. I honestly am shocked by this. Confirmed by the Wall Street Journal and other news outlets, Viktor Orban's 16-year reign over Hungary is coming to an end. This is massive. Viktor Orban was a huge ally of Vladimir Putin's of Russia, a Trump ally. Trump sent JD Vance there to...
Sent JD Vance, and JD Vance couldn't convince the people. I need 2 more likes, Diamond Gang. Let's go.
To help boost his campaign, help boost his chances. Why is the Vice President of the United States going and getting involved in a foreign government's election? I mean, could you imagine if Vladimir Putin came to the United States and campaigned for Trump? This is an important lesson for the United States. The people of Hungary finally came together and stood up and resisted the authoritarian rule that they had become under. Many people there years ago had fled the country, and many of them regret that. They have voiced their regret.
That's what's up. Thank you, Diamond Gang. I'm at 301. I'm happy.
Right, saying they should have stayed. They should have spoke up and fought for their country. And they urged Americans to do the same when it comes to standing up to Trump. The demonstrations in Hungary last night were overwhelming, with all the candle lights that could be seen from thousands of feet up in the air. Truly remarkable. Good job. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
We have some major news after Viktor Orban's stunning loss, the far-right stunning loss in Hungary. Well, Trump and Vance, they're worried that America could be next. The fallout from...
That's why he sent Vance down there. And they're worried. They are definitely worried it can happen here next.
The right losing in Hungary could spill over to America pretty quickly. Tonight's biggest winners, Ukraine. Ukraine now has another ally in Europe because the Kremlin, the Russian government, lost a lot of influence now that Viktor Orban will be losing power. And another winner, Democrats and just the general left across the world.
I keep telling y'all, the left is flipping seats. The Dems is flipping seats. Prepare yourself. For those that MAGA base Republicans, prepare yourselves.
Shift against the right now in Europe and globally, and America is likely next. Poll after poll shows Democrats winning significantly in November's elections. And what we saw tonight in Hungary could very well spill over, and there are growing concerns among Republicans that it will spill over into the United States elections in November. We'll see what happens. Major night right now. Spread the word. Follow along, stay updated on all the news you need to know about, and subscribe to my Substack to support. Link in bio. I'll have another update for you soon.
Now, Diamond Gang, the other day I gave y'all an update on Melania Trump's speech on Epstein. Well, guess what, y'all? I got the end result of, and for those that wasn't here, I made sure to get the clips so that you guys can see what happened in the beginning. So let's go. Y'all know she gave a speech about Epstein. Let's get into it.
The next Epstein distraction, as Epstein came back in the news with Amanda Ungaro this week and her allegations against Melania, Trump, Epstein, and the whole Trump administration. And she's vowing to release everything. And she has been starting to do that. And she is going on CNN tomorrow on Monday. She's supposed to have an interview released today on El Pais. So guys, stuff is going to start coming out about this. And Trump pivoted back to Iran. No deal. No peace deal. It really comes down to two main things after
Listen, gang, she had her interview today. And yeah, it didn't go well. Let's go.
Vance is returned to the United States from Pakistan after over 20 hours of meeting with Iran to negotiate a peace deal. And the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. That's the big thing. Secondly, Trump says Iran is unwilling to give up its nuclear ambitions. Then Trump moves to make what is probably the worst decision you could make in this entire conflict, because this is going to send oil and gas prices soaring higher than we even saw before. And he's saying the United States Navy is now going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz along with Iran, basically. So how is this going to work? This is going to lead to more conflict going forward. It sounds like we're going to be back at war with Iran soon. And just as all the
tomorrow morning, you watch.
This bombshell Amanda Ungaro information is coming out. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
All right, now we're going to get into the Amanda Ungaro story, okay, with the Epstein files and Melania Trump.
We are getting some insights now as to why Melania may have held her press conference yesterday talking about Epstein and denying her close relationship with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And boy, guys, this is a doozy. And if this is true, some major shit is going to hit the fan here really soon. Melania was probably just trying to get ahead of it. But here it is. She was best friends for around 20 years with this woman named Amanda Ungaro. She was together.
There she go right there. Amanda Ungaro right there. 20 years they were friends.
With Paolo Zampoli. You probably recognize that name.
That's her boyfriend. She has a kid by him.
Zampali currently serves as the U.S. Special Envoy for Global Partnerships, whatever the hell that is. But he's a close friend of Trump's. But here's where it gets juicy. Zampali is famous for being the founder of ID Models. He ran a modeling agency, starting to sound familiar now. And he famously, supposedly introduced Melania to Trump back in 1998. Now, Zampali and Ungaro had a child together, and they were never married, but they were having a bitter custody battle over this child. And Zampali notified ICE of her detention for fraud charges, and she was sitting in jail, and he had ICE come in and detain her and deport her back to Brazil. She came here as a Brazilian model and met Zampoli when she was 17 years old.
So he did that to get the son. But listen to this. Listen to this. So now she's back in Brazil.
So now Amanda Ungaro is bitter and pissed off and is going scorched earth and is threatening legal action and threatening to reveal everything. Let me repeat what I said earlier. Amanda Ungaro was best friends with Melania Trump for nearly 20 years. And she reportedly still maintains a close relationship with Melania's parents. Amanda is threatening on X to tear down the entire...
She said, I have nothing left to lose in my life. I will tear down the entire system. Be careful with me, bitch. This is why Melania made that statement. She was threatening to tell everything in the Epstein, you know, as far as Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go.
Corrupt system and go full scorched earth on Trump and Melania. Grab your popcorn, everyone. We're in for a ride here. Protect Amanda Ungaro. She has First Lady Melania Trump running scared, and it appears that she might be the reason Melania came out with her press conference out of nowhere yesterday. Now, Melania has done this. All those replies that Amanda made to the FLOTUS 45 Melania Trump's account.
Now, she made all of those posts, and they disappeared, okay? Let's take a look.
Have been deleted. All of them gone. Now, we don't know if Amanda deleted them or if the FLOTUS account did, but you can take a guess. The internet is forever, and I've got them, and so do many others. But are we witnessing another major cover-up? This brings more context into what Melania Trump said yesterday, and Amanda's ex and baby daddy, Paolo Zampali, went on the Daily Mail and said that he is willing to testify before Congress, something the First Lady also said she would do and wants others to do. Now, Zampali said he's willing to bring 50 other witnesses that were present at a party he hosted back in 1998 at the Kit Kat Club, where he's...
Now, if you was here Friday, I played his phone call. He called in to a station and told the same story, that he introduced Melania to Donald Trump. Let's go.
Says that he introduced Melania Trump to Donald Trump. So he says he can prove that with all these witnesses. But this begs the question, what does Amanda have? What are they afraid of her releasing? What does she have on all of them that they are so worried about? That has to be so bombshell that Melania Trump held an impromptu press conference without even notifying the president. This is major, guys. We'll see what happens here. Be sure to check back for updates, and I'll see you back here for the 411. This just happened. Until moments ago, Amanda Ungaro had no posts on her X account, just her replies to Melania Trump. Her first post was my video talking about her replies to Melania Trump and how Melania Trump's press conference was likely to do with what she knows and what she might be about to release. And it seems we might be on to something here, folks. What I have found is that Amanda Ungaro has been working with Anthony Andrews and using this X account.
Now, she was posting most of her stories or most of what she had to say about her deportation and about Melania on Anthony Andrews' X account. Okay, let's go. She had an interview today.
To post her story, what she knows, some of her evidence with some of the most bombshell stuff likely yet to come. But she paints a picture of how Paolo Zampali is involved with Melania, Epstein, Trump, all of it, and how it's all intertwined within our government right now. Everything in here needs to be investigated, and I hope some members of Congress are seeing this and will start looking into this, because this needs to be looked into. And perhaps this sheds some light on why the remaining 3 million plus Epstein files still have not been released. The El País article with Amanda.
Here's the article, y'all. Listen, because this ending was messed up.
Ungaro has dropped. You can go check it out. It's free. There's no paywall. Everyone should read it. And I can say with certainty now that this is why Melania Trump gave her impromptu address. According to Amanda's confidant, Anthony Andrews, the writer here, reached out to Melania's team asking for comment in relation to this article. So that's how she was tipped off to this happening.
So they tipped Melania off. That's what made Melania scared, and she did the press conference. Here's the deal. Once they tipped her off, Melania is sending out lawsuits. She sent one out to Joe Biden's son and a couple in Channel 5. So I think she threatened these people right here, but just take a listen.
And what's interesting is nothing about what Amanda said about Melania is in this article. All that has been omitted. Still, there is very serious stuff in this article that everyone.
So Melania basically threatened them with the lawsuit if they didn't remove what she said about her out of this paper.
Should know about. And a lot of it is about Amanda's deportation. Amanda details her horrific deportation experience in this Trump administration, even talking about other detainees she encountered, including a woman who had just given birth who was not getting the medical treatment she needed. And she talks about how she was arrested for alleged fraud related to a medical spa she was running. And she just posted now on X detailing all that and saying that they had all the medical licenses and that this was targeted to have her arrested. And she said that the authorities never shut down that spa that supposedly was operating fraudulently. She talks about how Paolo Zampali, her former partner and father of her son, took the opportunity of her arrest to have her deportation expedited, as he is a representative for the United States government under Trump. Through this, he was able to gain custody of their son and have Amanda shipped off to Brazil. Amanda also talks about the one and only time.
Ooh, this is the most corrupt government ever. Let's go.
She met Jeffrey Epstein, and she was brought on a plane full of 30 other young girls between the ages of 14 to 16 years old by her then agent. She talks about how her agent deceived her, saying, "We're going with a couple of friends, a private plane just for us." Ungaro claims she did not interact with anyone on the flight except for Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and her agent. And guess who her agent was? Jean-Luc Brunel, the man who was also arrested in France, sitting in a French prison, who also met the same fate as Epstein, suicide by hanging. She says the only interaction she had with Epstein was he asked, "Where are you from? How old are you? Which modeling agency do you work for?" In the article, Amanda also talks about her time serving as an ambassador for the United Nations for the island of Grenada. And it just begs the question, how does someone who held these positions go from that to being deported under the Trump administration? Amanda is exposing the other side of the corruption of this Trump administration and how they use their power and authority to silence anyone who was within their circle that has left the fray. It looks like we've just scratched the surface on this whole thing. More is going to be coming out in the coming days and weeks. Amanda Ungaro is set to go on CNN tomorrow, Monday.
I'm going to
Let me
follow.
know what you think about this. I'll see you back here for the 411.
I'm going to follow that story, y'all. I'm going to definitely follow that story. I'm going to go ahead and close that out, take a couple of comments, and get up out of here. We've been live for over 3 hours. I want to say shouts out to everybody that participated in this live stream. Please subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Where's my head? My thing? Yeah. Okay, here I go. Can you guys see me? Okay, I'm down there. Okay. All right, let me take a couple of comments and I got to get up out of here. It's late where I'm at. So remember, guys, I will go live tomorrow, being as though that they're going to block the straits. I'm pretty sure this will escalate, and I will bring the news to you guys to let you guys know what's going on. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Trump is cool. He's a real G. Yes, indeed. Under Trump, he's showing just how corrupt the United States is. Diamond Gang, please, for the ones that did subscribe, if you can, like I said, I'm streaming 2 live streams at one time. If you guys can, some of you guys can go over to the horizontal side. I think the next live stream, that's what I'll be doing. I will only be highlighting the comments from the horizontal side. You said this was all planned out long ago? What you mean this was all planned out long ago? What's going on now? Put it in the chat for me. Somebody said, I'm happy Trump blocked the straits. We winning. Us. Yup. Straits closed at 10 a.m. Eastern. Yup, Eastern. I'll be up. I get up at like 5, 6 in the morning. So I'll be up. But it's my time zone. So I'll see it. Okay, I got you. I believe it. I believe it. You said, how come you won't comment on the fact that Israel controls everything no matter who's in office? I don't believe that because guess what? I showed the video yesterday and he tried to get every president, even Dagon Bush, to attack Iran and they said no. So, yeah, he tried it with multiple presidents. People need to wake up. There is no difference between Republicans and Democrats. Still the same people controlling them behind the scenes. Yeah, they are corrupt. What? I can't put that up. I don't know what that's about. Some of these comments, oh boy. I don't want to ban you, but I got to delete it. Good night, Sleepwalker. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel. All right, Diamond Gang. It's 2:11 a.m. I got to get out of here. Shouts out to my subscribers. If you're new here, you subscribe. Thank you for everybody that participated. Shouts out to my beautiful moderators. I love y'all.
It's under the breeze. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda the Greek, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda the Great, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea.